What is going on, everybody? It is episode 353 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name's Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am back.
I was going to say, and welcome back.
Sick again.
Yes.
They got me again.
Yep.
I feel like the deep state's after me, constantly trying to incapacitate me. And now Brett might be infected.
Oh yeah, I've had my lungs don't sound good. When I woke up on Sunday, it was already starting, but now it's back. So
Snapping,
it is what it is.
popping.
Yeah, and my brain is a little bit short circuiting there because I didn't change the camera right away. So
That's
we're
okay.
getting into the feel of things
on
right
the
now.
podcast.
It's a little bit different when you have to push the buttons and talk at the same time, and you're not a multitasker, which I am not. So
It's okay.
And Phil is with us today.
Hi, I can't wait to get sick.
I guess that you guys already knew that Phil was on today because he was
In the background
visible
shot,
on the
yeah.
intro
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, we'll let everyone now, or is that going to be a thing now? People have to guess whose the back it is. Like if we don't tell them who's in the shot, and everyone has to put their bets in. Like who's the guest today?
You could do some kind of like giveaway if you guess.
That would be great. And then start like trying to trick people. Like somebody dresses up in Taylor's clothes and puts on a wig, like Ian yesterday with his wig on.
That
could
was
just have, like, a
iconic. Okay, Brett showed me the picture from Ian's like cross-dressing thespian days.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. It's like him on stage in a dress and knee-high socks.
And makeup and everything.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. He showed it to us
And you
yesterday.
thought that long hair was for no reason.
Yeah. Well, at that time it was
The
a wig.
versatility of an actor. Oh, amazing.
Did you say actor?
He's an actor.
Not cool. Not cool, bro. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Lizzo dragged all the drag queens to Tennessee to protest laws out there. We're going to talk about that and Kevin Bacon, which people got into yesterday. We are also going to talk about a classic Hollywood Hollywood tale of lust and cheating and drama between Glen Powell and his girlfriend, who unfollowed Sydney Sweeney because she might be worried that Sydney Sweeney is trying to steal her man in between takes. In between takes on the romantic comedy they're going to be in together. It's a tale as old as time in Hollywood. We are also going to talk about a very unfortunate story about an actor from Canada who passed away while he was doing 12 separate cosmetic surgeries so that he could look like one of the members of BTS, which is just insane. I would love to see more coverage of just how little oversight there seems to be into the cosmetic surgery business,
Especially outside of the U.S.,
Yeah.
which we'll get into.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about the fact that movie stars just aren't bankable unless they're closing in on AARP age, it seems like. All of the ages of movie stars, what are considered bankable movie stars, are going up. We will discuss that, and we got a bunch of other stuff to get into. So if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Phil, are you ready?
No. Yeah.
Okay, dang it.
Doesn't really matter
All right.
right here.
That's
well,
right.
too bad.
It
We're going to get started.
whether you want it or not.
The first thing I want to talk about is just an announcement of sorts. If you remember, not that long ago, we covered Bam Margera's kind of descent. What I labeled his descent, it wasn't a specific article, but you could see a progression of things going wrong in his life.
I mean, not really a progression. It's just a devolution.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
he's
unraveling.
devolving. And it says he was on the run from police in Pennsylvania because there was a failed intervention with friends of his, and he ended up attacking his own brother. And it's just really, really sad. Like, it's very clearly, speaking as someone from experience being in recovery, you see it. You can't say for sure because I'm not there. I don't know the situation 110%. But you're also not an idiot, and you're not blind to the signs of things like this. And that's somebody's going through a spiral right now between his custody issues with his kid, family issues, and when you don't want help, it's very hard to take it. Like when people are telling you need help and you don't want it, or you don't feel like you need it, that's always a very hard thing to hear.
Yep.
Has it one of those things that you must see that in the music industry, right? Like,
Well, I mean, you definitely do, and it's if you're dealing with people that are in bands, you're dealing with a lot of times you're dealing with egos and on top of substance abuse and stuff.
I remember I used to have the Wikipedia page for Speedball marked, and it would list all the people who have died of speedballs, and it was
I'm very confused.
It's a morbid. A speedball is basically you mix a stimulant and an opiate.
Typically, it was back when it came to prominence with, I think it was heroin and
cocaine.
cocaine.
Well, they just cancel each other out, right?
Not really.
No.
That's not what happens at all.
It's solid advice.
It's don't do it is what I'm saying.
I'm
but
kidding.
don't do
they cancel you out sometimes.
Yes, but what would so I would look through this list and it would list all of the famous people who have died of speedballs, and a lot of musicians on that list.
So with this Bam Margera story, our bass player Matt Dice, he was in CKY for a lot of years.
Oh wow!
So he knows these guys, and I shot him a message yesterday, and I asked him, I was like, what do you know? And he's like, look, essentially, he's like, he needs some help. Is really what he's like. He's like a long term. He had said something like a long term. Stint for where Bam is in rehab and away from these kind of things.
It's not 30 days.
It's got to be. It's got to be a long time.
90 or more, and it requires.
Matt's had some, like I said, he had some experience with him, and so like he was a little less polite about it. But he was definitely like it should be something where they go away, and he doesn't have access to drugs because it's something that's it's not gonna just stop. It
doesn't, and it requires. It's not just about getting the drugs out of your system. It's about reformulating your lifestyle, and you have to learn to approach all those things that you deal with in your normal life. You have to learn new coping mechanisms, and it's still something I deal with. Like even to this day, years down the line, it'll be really interesting. Like I can be like. One of the reasons I've watched as much TV in movies as I have is literally because I did so many drugs back in the day. And now, when we have to watch stuff, the reason I like movies is because they're shorter, right? Sitting down for 8 episodes of a TV show, I literally don't have it in me to sit still for that long. Yeah. I can't do it. Whereas back in the day, I was literally knocking myself out to do so. So, you have to learn to deal with all these things, whether it's how you calm down before you go to bed, whether it's how you deal with stressful situations at work or in your personal life. And he's not going to be able to do that in 30 days. It's going to take longer than that. And longer still if you're not even at the stage yet where you're ready to admit that you need it.
Yeah.
Like I was one of those people, I was never dumb enough to think I didn't need help. I was acutely aware that I was in a bad place. I just wasn't ready to get it and was scared of actually taking the step early on. But I wasn't like, I could quit anytime I want. Yeah. I wasn't saying stuff like that. But for somebody like him for somebody like Bam Margera who's actively against it right now and fighting with family members, it's going to be a long process.
Yeah, I mean, not that I don't want to speak out of turn and say I know what the fight was about. Yeah. Because it's like it could have been just the way something from their past was delivered or whatever. But yeah, it does take a lot of restructuring your life. I mean, I haven't had a drink in 5 years now or something like that.
Yeah, man.
And it does it. You have to. It's a daunting task because when you are used to using a substance, whether it be alcohol or drugs or whatever, or smoking cigarettes, which I haven't had a cigarette since 2019 as well. It's like you are used to these things in your life, and you really spend a lot of time before you actually decide to quit thinking, how am I going to live without this? What is my life going to be like if I don't have this thing? So I can't tell you how many times I was like, sitting there planning my day around smoking cigarettes. Oh yeah, and that's one of the least invasive drugs you can do.
And that's one of the ones you can get legally.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You don't have to. You don't really have to do anything significantly dangerous to your immediate safety to acquire cigarettes. With other drugs with that are on the black market and stuff, you oftentimes do. So it's rough. It's not something that's just going to go away with a conversation or two.
That was one of the things that happened to me. Was literally getting sober. It was like I could travel again. Meaning like I could go places and not have to worry about whether I was going to have access to that type of stuff. Like you can't imagine how much of like a handcuff that is.
Yeah.
How much it cuffs you to where you live. Even if you're prescribed to meds, like what if the trip you're going on starts at a time when you're between prescriptions, like where you're about to get a prescription, you're waiting to for your prescription to be refilled. That makes it a problem too. Like all these things. And I don't think a lot of people, like unless you go through it, you can't expect people to understand it, and it's not their job to.
The only thing that anytime anyone asks me about like addiction or whatever, whether it be like when it comes to cigarettes and stuff, it's like I think that it's like being hungry. That's the best way I can describe it. But like not just hungry, like absolutely think of the hungriest you've ever been. And that's what it's like going 2 days without a cigarette. Like that second day you're just like, and that doesn't even quite
No, it doesn't.
And that's not talking about like any of the other stuff that goes along with stuff that has physical withdrawal
symptoms,
or sickness or all that stuff. It's a nightmare.
I've tried to explain to people that like I don't have a worst enemy, but if I had a worst enemy, I wouldn't wish painful withdrawal on any of them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. It's that awful. So, like, hopefully he gets the help he needs to. But being on the run from the cops with the warrant out on you is a sign that you're not quite there yet.
How can anybody be on the run from the cops in 2023?
I know, right?
How can Bam Margera run?
Knows where you are.
The car runs for him. The car runs for him, I think.
It's like Amanda Bynes' situation.
Yeah.
How do you
wandering aimlessly through the streets for days.
And people are just like, hey, that's Bam Margera.
And you're like, hey, people start taking selfies with you and making TikToks with you, and you're like, I don't even know where I am right now.
Yeah, it would be a horrible thing to have to go through. So, all right. We also have an update on the story from Grimes from yesterday. Mary, you weren't here for this one, but you found these today.
So she basically gave everyone license to use her voice in AI generated music. And as long as she could collect royalties
50%.
from it, 50%. And now she's like, oh, shit, this has consequences.
Yep.
So she gave everyone a link to something called elf.tech. And this is how you're supposed to register and access her vocals.
You know that she reached out to Space Daddy Elon to figure out this
Are they
website.
talking again?
Yeah, they got to be talking again.
If you register music with us, we can collect and pay out royalties direct to anyone who uses AI Grimes vocals using smart contracts. The future really is now. This is so cool.
I do think that a lot of the next generation of artists are going to start utilizing stuff like this.
Do you guys know? Do you know is it built on Ethereum? Is it a smart contract like that?
I don't know.
It would have to be crypto,
I went to
right?
her website and I didn't want to register on it, so yeah. Then her next tweet, less than an hour after that, said, okay, hate this part, but we may do copyright takedowns only for really, really toxic lyrics with Grimes' voice.
Like what? I want to know what
she
is
said
the line?
There's no specific line. She said you'd really have to push it for me to want to take something down, but I guess please don't be the worst. As in, try not to exit the current Overton window of lyrical content with regards to sex or violence. Like no baby murder songs, please. Grimes, you're not with the Overton window if you think baby murder's off.
Listen,
the
if
table.
you ever use if anyone ever does that with mine, you can sing Cannibal Corpse songs.
Yes.
I'm fine with you using my voice for baby murder. That's
she
totally
said,
fine.
I think I'm Streisand
Unless it's an abortion
this
song.
now.
That type of baby murder is fine, she says. I'm sure.
I mean, if you eat the baby, if you eat the aborted fetus, then
Fair enough.
I think, given our current political climate, baby murder songs are definitely considered appropriate.
In her song called Grow v. Wade.
So she said she thinks she's Streisand affecting this now, but I don't want to have to issue a takedown and be a hypocrite later. That's the only rule. Really don't like to do a rule, but don't want to be responsible for a Nazi anthem unless it's somehow in jest, a la producers, I guess. Would prefer avoiding political stuff, but if it's a small meme with your friends, we probably won't penalize
now
that.
Now she's saying she's just not
Probably
going to let you do anything.
Something is viral and anti-abortion or something like that. So basically no baby murder songs, but also no anti-baby murder songs, but also nothing political, but just don't be the worst, okay?
Leave it to a woman to make mixed signals part of her musical legacy.
Yeah. She said, like, I think I'm Streisanding this. Yes, Grimes, you are Streisanding this. Delete the tweet. So I think people are going to start releasing some really off-color jokes in Grimes'
Oh, yeah,
voice
like she's making it way worse.
enough.
She's making it way worse. It's going to end up being something really awful. It's going to be called
like,
a song called like
making my voice something for public use has consequences for my reputation?
Aloha
That's
Snack Bar, the
insane.
song.
I would have never expected that.
Yeah.
I'm
crazy.
just gonna cover songs off of Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse.
I do want to know what your thoughts are on what's going on right now with musical artists and AI voices and stuff like that. Because I admitted yesterday freely, I am in my Kanye West doing pop punk era right now. I am. I'm listening to almost nothing but
Singing
songs
the
that are
Killers and like the Strokes
and
songs.
Jesse McCartney songs. It's hilarious.
Perfectly fits his white Lives Matter.
But also it's not like he's a singer. So it's him. It very clearly sounds like him, but he's not really a singer.
He's sung.
I don't think that there's anything anyone can do about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's just like when. So back in the day when Lars Ulrich was complaining about digitizing music and torrents and stuff and Napster and stuff, he approached it poorly because he didn't. I mean, no one. That was the first time, or not one of the first times. That was the first kind of taste of like what would happen when everyone's kind of against you and he wasn't canceled, but people definitely had it in for Lars for a while.
Yeah.
And it was inevitable. You know, he was right. Everybody now realizes that Lars was totally right about what he was saying, but it was also inevitable. And I think this is kind of in the same wheelhouse. Like, AI is going to be out there. The biggest artists are the ones that are going to have to worry about it, because if you're just like a mid-level artist or smaller, like, you won't get enough.
There's no reason to do that.
It's funny if you turn Michael Jackson into a velociraptor. If you turn like the guy that had a one-hit wonder from '93 into a velociraptor, no one cares.
You know who ends up losing out? I mentioned this to Mary. I said it's like when BBC One does Live Lounge and they get artists to cover other artists' songs. You won't even need to do that anymore because they can just do it through AI programs. And then musicians are going to be listening to them sing another artist's song. Like, I wouldn't have done it like that.
All of the Kanye AI songs where he's singing white people songs make me think like he just needs to do this for real and make an acoustic cover album. I'm obsessed.
Him and Drake.
Genuinely. And it's so his vibe because he's just like an emo, like soulful guy.
We need somebody out there to make a Kanye Creed album because Kanye's religious.
And
isn't Creed religious?
The cover will just be him in the White Lives Matter shirt. I'm obsessed.
Or maybe we have Kanye doing Anne Boleyn.
Oh man, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Anne Boleyn's religious, right? They were a religious group. They have Kanye. We have Kanye cover like Christian rock. That would be hilarious. Like on his next, he makes his next gospel album and ends up being a Christian rock album and doesn't tell anyone.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Christian rock, but he's wearing like Hugo Boss uniforms.
Yes, I'm so down.
Side note, like I think everyone knows that Jesus is King was not that great of an album. It was just a really great attempt at an album. And people liked the vibe of it, not the actual songs.
I still think he flourished later, even more than a lot of people do in that time period. Jail Part 2 is my favorite Kanye West song of all time, and that's one of his most recent albums.
Yeah, but he's way more hit or miss than he used to be.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, I still am of the opinion that most music nowadays, it suffers from the fact that most of it isn't made for album. They're made as singles, and I miss music when it was made as an album. Meaning that I can listen to old rap albums and it's made to be listened from start to finish.
You think that's true, Phil?
I think there's probably some truth to it. I do. I think that it's I don't think that there's a whole lot of incentive for artists to create art style albums.
Yeah, of course not. Not in the same, not the way it was back in the day.
Album with imagery that goes along, and then with videos that tie into the imagery of it. I mean, like, there's not a whole lot of Iron Maidens
What's
anymore.
going to be a TikTok song?
Because that's the thing.
TikTok
2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Makes...
All of the songs now are 2 minutes and 40 seconds because there's like an algorithm that said that's the max.
And that's short to me. Like, All That Remains our first record we put out, we had some long songs on it, like 6-7 minutes. Yeah. And then after that, it was like, okay, nothing really over like 4 minutes. And then we start cramming them down to 3. And now it's like, we're like.
Now the ideal time in a song is like to go viral, I think, is like 2:20.
Yeah, for a whole thing. That's why you got to get to your chorus within the first 30 seconds. If you don't have the hook, if you don't give people a reason to stick around for a minute within the first 30 seconds, right, for the next minute, you have to give them the hook within the first 30 seconds to get them to convince them to stick around through the next verse and the second chorus. Yeah. That's what you have to do to hold on to them. Then you get the opportunity to do something a little interesting with a bridge, but then they're gonna be gone after that. So
yeah, I don't remember if it was like J. Cole or somebody was talking about. He's like, I'm gonna give you guys something crazy in this next album. 3 verses on every song, and I'm like, whoa, holy crap! Might not have been J. Cole, but that was interesting. And it is interesting the way music has gone, because I do remember buying an album when I was younger was different. You were buying the whole experience. Like I was explaining to, I don't think it was Mary, but somebody who was younger. I'm like, go look at the album art for Doggy Style from Snoop Dogg. Just go look at it. It's very explicit.
Go
Should
look
I?
at the.
I don't know.
It's
Go
very
look at the artwork for Somewhere in Time by Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Go look at the artwork for
So much more
most
work.
of the Iron Maiden records, especially the big full artwork, not just the cover, but the whole like album.
Yep.
It was the Somewhere in Time was a massive undertaking. Like it's a huge piece of art,
They
and
used
that's
to be
like
turned
that.
into like picture
Now-
books in a lot of ways.
Now album covers are more like net art.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even talking about covers. Like you took out the fold, right? And it unfolds and it becomes basically a flip book.
So
Yeah.
right now, I will say that there's a few bands that are redoing things, that are doing things their own way. Polyphia is one of the bands that I'm sure that most of the people that are watching, most of the crisis actors, you guys know Polyphia. If you don't, look at the way they released their last record, right? They released 3 singles before the record came out, and they had huge push on them, and there was video, and they had imagery, and they were all had like
Is that not the formula?
that has been lost, I think.
I
with
thought
a
that
lot
was,
of
you
bands.
know, like the tried and true formula. But
That
do you
it-
think that people just do singles now?
Well, no, okay, so I think that it used to be you would put the record out and then the singles came. They released the singles leading up to the record.
Oh.
And I think that that's
I
something
didn't
that's
even know
different.
that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know singles came out after.
Yeah, singles came.
The album,
What you would
that's
do is you would have
crazy.
your first single come out usually 30
And see
days
how
or
it's
so before the
received, I
record comes out.
guess.
Well, I mean, you're kind of already committed because the record's done usually. So you put your first single out to
Yeah.
promote it because you want to have a big release day. So you put whatever your best song, whatever you think is going to be the best song, best received song, you put that out about 30 days before the actual record comes out. The record release day gets as much attention as possible. You have all your press front load it, and then after the heat cools off, then you drop your second one, which oftentimes you have a high energy song for your first release. Your second song's like kind of a more chill one. Like if you have a ballad, you do your ballad for your second one, and then your third one is something. Hopefully, you'll be something a little more high energy or something that you get to, because if you have 2 actual singles on a record nowadays, that's fairly decent.
Yeah.
Or back in the day, I mean.
Yeah. And you lose interludes. There's no interludes anymore.
Oh God, no.
No.
No, interludes are called are where you lose listeners.
Yes.
There are. It's just you have to have a super dedicated fan base who's like obsessed, like the Lana Del Rey stans, who like listen to an 8-minute interlude and the whole time they're like, yes, like this is amazing, when it's like actually shit. So you have to have a really intense fan base.
I mean, that was the whole point of listening to an
sticks
Eminem
around
album.
for something like that.
I could listen to an Eminem album for the awful interludes that made me laugh.
Yeah, those were funny.
And
but-
Dr. Dre had some very, very naughty interludes that were not PG or
Yeah.
anything like that. And that was a part of the art form. So, all
Rap,
right.
yeah, that was definitely a deal.
All right, let's show, do we want to do cringe or cute of the day first?
let's show cutes.
Okay. We will start here, ladies and gentlemen. You showed me this one first, Mary.
I love this.
This is amazing. Here we go.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
The baby's like,
They were defending the baby.
Yes,
I
they
like
did.
when dogs like know how to to protect the babies.
yep. I'm a sucker for the videos of dogs cuddling with newborns. Yes,
Yeah,
this
or
is a
like
thing.
kittens.
Yep. All right. And then because we do have some cute of the day from listeners here, we got a couple here. This is from Mike Sacheta.
Whoa.
Yes. That's Rocco.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Ferrets are crazy, dude. They
Yeah.
can fit into any shape. They're like liquid.
Yeah. It's adorable looking though in that
You can
picture.
Land
swing
octopus.
them around. Like they're crazy fast too.
We got a couple others here. We'll show this one. This is from Anne. She says, watching videos of Emily the rat who died recently. This was a fun day preparing for the Constitution Day of Norway.
What?
You're still doing PCC Pets because Emily has listened to many an episode late at night with me. Only pop culture show I have ever enjoyed. So thank you for that. But let's play this video of Emily the rat. At first, I was wondering if this was like a joke video that I was.
Yeah,
that
is
I
this
was
real?
Like I have no idea, but I'm gonna play it anyways. Or if I'm being, if I was being pranked into showing something I shouldn't be showing, but it doesn't look that way to me.
I think we're good. What the heck?
Is that the flag of Norway?
Maybe?
think so.
I'm not
Okay.
educated enough
Yeah.
to know.
Well,
Pretty sure.
Emily looks like she has a lot of national pride.
What the hell?
And I'm a fan. There's a $20 one from Francisco Sanchez Jr. right there.
He said the Japanese market has been singles focused for decades, usually releasing 3 to 5 singles before an album. Phil, have you heard about Sleep Token? They've released 6 singles this year before their May album release.
I've heard of Sleep Token. I've heard some of their stuff, some very heavy, cool stuff. But I did not know that they released 6 singles before the release of their album. But that does just go to show, like, people don't. I mean, there's not a whole lot of reason to release an album. It's probably better to, like, All That Remains is likely going to put out singles leading up to an album as well. We'll put out 3, 4. Like, we've got songs that are just about finished now. So we're looking to put out, multiple songs leading up to a record, as opposed to just being like one and then here's the record.
It's financially, it makes more sense.
I guess at this level of like Taylor Swift, she can just drop an album without any warning or any singles or whatever. But that's planned meticulously too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't think that first, I'm not sure, but I don't think that like first week sales matters as much. I mean, I know that it probably does for like getting tours or whatever, because if you have heat, that does matter. But I mean, if you have a fan base, you really just want to be able to make sure that they know that you're putting a record out, that you're putting out content, and you should be putting out content on a regular enough schedule where they're like, okay, I know that at least something coming. I know they're doing some stuff,
There's by the way, more proof that Taylor Swift is the last real man in the music industry these days. She was like, I saw this thing of her at a concert where she got this huge gash on her hand and kept performing. Meanwhile, Shawn Mendes is like, oh my God, I'm having a mental breakdown. I'm taking 6 months off. Like, and she's over here like bleeding as she's dancing. I'm becoming a Taylor Swift stan myself, but just based on the hard work.
Listen, man, I'm right about Taylor Swift, okay? She's awesome.
She is. I'm with you. She's great. And one more here, guys. This is from Booster? This is Harley.
Wow.
This is Harley.
I'm kind of feeling this way.
That's how you're feeling today?
Yeah.
You don't have enough skin on your face to be like...
Oh, eventually.
Harley is adorable. So that, guys, again, if you do want to send in pictures for cute of the day of your adorable pets, hashtag PCC Pets on Twitter, not on Instagram. Tag me in it, and we will get it on here. We're going to show a couple of them every day. Mary, we got another story here that we're going to get into, do we not?
Don't we have a cringe?
Do we have? We do have cringe of the day. We have 2 cringes of the day. I forgot about that. Okay, guys. These are both very from Clown World, which is easily the greatest account on Twitter. If you're looking for cringe
get banned
of the day, eventually. This is from the New York Post. I'm a proud Christian porn star. God put me on earth to enjoy sexual pleasure. I didn't look any further because I didn't want to Google it on the company Wi-Fi. But yes, proud Christian porn star. Mary, I literally was going to do this yesterday, and I'm like, I'll wait till Mary's back.
And I'm just like, you know what? I get why the Andrew Tate stans are like, I'm converting to Islam, because this is what Christianity has become, where it just means this is the religion you join when you just think all you need to do is be polite to people and be a doormat.
Be kind.
And whatever. It's like when feminists say that anything a woman chooses is a feminist decision because she chose it. It's anything a Christian does is Christian because they chose to do it, and if they're not hurting anyone, then it's moral, and
this
that's
is
not the case.
A little bit off the topic.
Get the boat.
I do want to ask, what are your thoughts when people say Jesus was a socialist?
That they're socialists.
Yeah, that they're socialists with ulterior motives.
They're telling you commie cope.
This is it. It's sad because some people can grasp so close to like what the actual truth is, and it's like if you just rearrange the words in her sentence, you could say God put sexual pleasure on earth for people to enjoy it, rather than your entire purpose in life is to exist for that. You know. That sucks that she
if you
put that message out there.
And if you saw the cute of the day earlier with the baby, we have a cringe of the day that's far worse. If you've seen this one, guys,
this is a health hazard.
This is absolutely a health hazard.
This is dangerous. I don't know why a hospital would allow this.
Why would you put dirty money on a brand new baby?
All money is incredibly dirty if you didn't know.
and they're
covered in
the
germs and random like
Head
chemicals.
start to its immune system.
Yeah, I guess.
This is
like,
just, you're not even supposed to. This is why you don't let strangers kiss your baby.
Like I was mentioning it earlier because Mary's like, "Oh, are you not feeling well?" I'm like, "I ate plenty of dirt as a kid. I'll be fine."
Somebody
I'm sure.
threw a
Like,
bunch of money on bread.
Yeah, that's what it was when I was a baby. I mean, it wasn't hundreds. My family probably couldn't afford
This
hundreds.
is reminding
but,
me of
you know.
the Pearly Things take about child support.
Yes. Wait, what was it?
She just thinks that child support should be abolished.
Oh man, she's got all the right takes, right?
Or the right takes, according to
That's Pearly.
whom?
That's Pearl, the red-haired girl.
I think she has red hair.
The one who says men should be able to cheat on women.
She has a lot of takes.
It's a pick me take if ever I've heard one.
Hey, that you said that, not me.
Right.
Don't make me enter this arena.
Well, I'm not going to argue about it. All right, guys, we got that one here. Go for it, Mary. This is about the influencer, right?
Yeah, there's this video that went totally viral on all platforms over the weekend of a TikToker named Jackie La Bonita. And
Sounds like a real name.
she basically recorded herself at a baseball game. Her phone was on a tripod, and there were some girls behind her who did not like that she was recording.
Bringing a tripod, it's got to be how guys feel when girls bring tripods to the gym, or when guys do, when people bring tripods to the gym and they just don't want to be like in the background of your
I
shot.
just think nobody has to be part of your content. We've talked about this before. There was this video of that girl who was like hanging out in Times Square, and this dancer like comes up to her and taps her on the shoulder, and she gets very startled. And everyone was saying
$20 one right there. Gabby Hayes.
Gabby Hayes said, Phil is 100% right. I had a plan for the past 2 years to drop 4 mixtapes in a series together with artwork for them. Came to the sad reality that would decrease plays and hurt me overall. Have to drop singles instead.
Also, viral content is becoming popular for music too. I've mentioned this on the show before.
That's the best thing that can happen to your song or your whatever.
But just like there's this guy who has a channel called YX. It's a musician called YX where he records all these videos where he basically like makes fun of his wife in the videos or his girlfriend.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's they're like, and she's like part of it. Like she very clearly knows what's going on, and it's like he has one where she's like she won't pick out where to go to eat, and he sings a whole song about how she can't pick out what the hell they're gonna go have.
Oh
for
wait a
dinner.
minute, is that the singer?
Yes, he's a singer.
He is awesome.
He's amazing.
The first one where he was like, "You're late for work."
Yeah, he puts a huge
God.
he puts a huge like speaker right on their bed,
And he's a great
he
singer,
wakes
too.
her up and he goes, "You're late." Like he like sings to her, and she's like,
great.
and she's just pissed.
He's got great falsetto,
She
too.
she
sounds
wakes
great.
up and she's just mad at him, and she's like half asleep.
good.
She's like, "Why don't you wake me up like a normal person?"
These are the lengths people will go to for TikTok clout.
It's so worth it.
No, it's you have to go listen to it. He has another like where they're taking down the Christmas tree, and it's called like you have time for other balls but mine, and it's hilarious, dude. And like he's like, and here's the thing for musicians like that. I listen to their serious music and I can't get into it because I'm just like the real music doesn't hit the way the meme music does. It doesn't.
Kind of shooting yourself in the
Yeah.
foot.
Okay, back to the.
He's a great singer, though.
He is.
Yes. So this woman, just in the past 24 hours, has gained over 100,000 followers on TikTok. Let's just watch this video. She captioned it, "Please be nice. # mean girls. # mean girl vibes."
This one right here, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Watch my
I'm gonna turn that down just slightly.
confidence disappear after these random girls make fun of me for taking pics. Okay, feeling my spice vibes.
She's giving her the middle finger.
Was this
I mean,
necessary?
that's kind of a dick move, but
I would do it.
Criminally offensive side-eye. Starts recording me.
This is how we need to start responding to people with tripods at, like, trying to force you to be part of their
Calling
content.
her bestie it.
I don't feel
I
bad for
can
this woman
literally
at all.
hear the whole convo. Realizing they are talking about me,
well, you brought a
Feeling
tripod to a
super-
baseball field.
self-conscious. I wanted to cry.
That's your own fault. Okay.
So this video goes massively viral. It gets shared across platforms. It has like 60,000 shares. And she has mostly benefited from the situation, and the internet completely mobilized with pitchforks and torches against these
girls.
women. And now they have been found on their social media, their personal social media, just from their faces, their professional profiles. People are going after their jobs, trying to get them fired.
God.
I don't know if that has succeeded. I think actually they might have confirmed she was fired from her job, the girl with straight hair.
For what?
Just simply for being in a controversial post on social media.
Like it takes away from the company or something?
This is only further confirming that she was warranted in her reaction.
Guys would have just fought. Guys are better. Guys would have just fought. Guys are better. Guys totally would have just beat the crap out of each other. Guys are way better than girls.
It's so much worse, right? To publish a video with someone's face showing, knowing that the entire internet is about to go on the attack. Like, that is the underhanded move that this TikTok influencer was making when she posted the video and played the victim and cried about it. Like, all you needed to do was post your picture and go. Like, you didn't need to post your sob story knowing that these people would get attacked on a very personal level. Like, people do not realize how serious doxing is.
It's also why social media is a breeding ground for female psychopaths, because social media is designed to hurt other people the way women like to hurt other people.
Yep.
Men like to hurt each other with their fists. Women like to socially scare the crap out of you and eventually get you to take a long walk off a short bridge.
Social media is a nuclear weapon for women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was always going to happen in this case. And this girl, it's even worse because she's playing the victim here. I don't know if the average person takes it, but to play the victim here, she had to go into like Adobe Premiere, pull close-ups of these shots. Like, she put a lot of work into making this video, right? This isn't something that was just
she
made
edited
on a whim.
it very carefully
Yes.
to perfectly frame this story where she is the victim, when in reality, she is actually attacking those women in a much worse way.
For having a negative reaction to her having a tripod in a situation where you normally just wouldn't have a tripod.
It's not even just the tripod. If she had the tripod but was turned in a way where the field was her background instead of other strangers, that would have been a totally different story.
And I understand it too, because look, I've been skating for 25 years, and I still do. I skate by myself all the time with a tripod because, like, if there's nobody else around, you go out, and it's a little bit different because you're filming stuff that's dangerous, so it's like you want a record of it in a lot of ways. But for something like that, even then, you get weirdly self-conscious if people walk by because you look ridiculous. You do.
I don't think it's as ridiculous as what she's doing, because
No,
at
it's
least when
not.
you're filming yourself, you're filming a skill set that you have that is also part of your professional like career.
But even then, it's still there's still a little bit of like self-consciousness, because if like they're looking from far away, they're like, what the hell is this weirdo doing? It's normal to feel that. So she's like, not only I don't think she actually felt self-conscious at all. I don't buy that. I think that she thinks that people who are watching this TikTok will think she's feeling that way, and it'll make them feel sympathetic to her. But you don't bring a tripod and just plop it down at a baseball field
and then
if
say,
you feel
I started
self-conscious.
feeling so self-conscious when they started making fun of me. You clearly are immune to that feeling.
Exactly.
If you started like posing for selfies around a bunch of strangers.
It's so weird.
And you know what? It's just, I am really scared of this future we are hurtling towards, where we have to be in other people's content.
You're gonna have to
like
be forever.
everything is content, and you could fall victim to any one of these psychopath influencers any day, just for being in public.
Whether you gave over a side eye to a girl at the gym who was filming herself, which I will admit,
just going in public now, I think that's something that whether or not we like it, we've accepted, because we accepted government surveillance from cameras.
We accepted that we're being surveilled, but when you're being surveilled, is the government then going to like post a video of you picking your wedgie?
The government is made of people, yes.
Dude,
the government is made of people,
Well,
yes.
yes,
The government will. The thing is
the NSA harvesting videos of you picking your wedgies and then posting it on Twitter?
that would be hilarious.
It all depends on who the NSA agent is.
I'm not saying that surveillance is not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not an exact comparison.
My favorite is the memes. It says like my FBI agent laughing at the memes I'm posting all day, or my FBI agent looking at my memes and realizing she has a crush on me.
the way that like actual CIA agents get around the fact that they're supposed to be prohibited by law from monitoring Americans is they tell their friends in other countries that are counterparts in other intel agencies to monitor their friends in America.
It's not the
So
CIA.
it's literally it's like
it's Mossad that's watching you and then sending it to the guy as a funny video.
But the point is that the point that I'm trying to make is I think that that's something that even like for this conversation, I get what you guys are saying, but generally that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
The idea of not being on
privacy.
Yeah, of privacy in public,
Sure.
especially in a city. If there's other people around,
I
no.
think,
So
yes,
what's worse?
you're right about that, but like, I think there's much more of an acute impact to being in a video posted by an influencer where you're the villain in their victimhood story.
Now it becomes a topic of behavior, or the discussion becomes about behavior. What is socially acceptable behavior with that kind of information, or with other people's identity. If you take a video, that means you actually have some of their data, and I'm one of those people that thinks that like your data should be considered your property. So like social media companies should have to compensate you if they're selling your data. There should be something like that, and I think that's something that I actually would endorse some type of legislation surrounding. But that's still a situation where like your phone number in someone else's phone is still your data, and the government doesn't look at it like that, and that needs to change. So like that's part of the thing that social media companies do. So I think that there needs to be, people need to be aware that when you're taking video, you are taking other people's data, and that kind of stuff does have repercussions, like when you put it on the internet and et cetera.
You would think that her like just showing her face wouldn't mean any identifying information could be found, but it took the internet less than 24 hours to uncover all of her professional history, where she lives, her family members, everything.
Facial recognition technology is on the internet now, and you can get it for free. I guarantee it. So the idea of actual privacy, or the idea of being able to opt out of these kind of things is probably something of in the history books.
Another crazy development here is that Cardi B tweeted a reaction to this video, and she has 29.5 million followers, and she said that she would put that ring to use, meaning the big ring on the influencer's hand. She wanted to hit this girl with it and injure her with it, because she laughed at you for setting up a tripod at a baseball game all alone to take selfies.
Ridiculous.
Like, I think that people have become so socially maladjusted and isolated on the internet that they think it's normal to say things like this. And I think the normal reaction, maybe shouldn't be throwing the middle finger at somebody. Maybe shouldn't be recording them back.
Maybe she could have asked,
shouting
could
at
you
them.
please not record us in the background?
I don't think it's unwarranted to have a negative reaction to that. Like, you are allowed to object to being in somebody's video that they're making when they have not even asked you or done the courtesy of cropping you out of the video.
Yeah.
That's an insane expectation for everyone else to participate in your stupid content.
Yep.
It is probably better to ask, hey, could you not put me in your video? As opposed, if you're making faces and stuff like that,
you're doing
just
something rude, so you deserve to have your entire life ruined. Like, that's the point that we've gotten to. And her caption being please be nice, #mean girl vibes, is the epitome of hypocrisy. Like, you are the mean girl. You are beyond a mean girl. Yeah. You are a psychopath.
You're a female psychopath.
And you are not nice, okay? You knew what reaction this was going to draw, and that, everyone would be in favor of your side of the story.
Cry bully.
Yeah, it's classic cry bully behavior.
Yep.
And I don't think people treat doxing with nearly enough seriousness. The consequences are not just for people who make inflammatory political statements or say slurs on the internet or go to freaking Charlottesville. It could happen to anybody from any walk of life for any reason. Yep. And
we all know
it could be you. I'm just saying.
The actual reality of a situation isn't actually that important too. Like it really does. Like if it's presented in a certain way, that could be terrible repercussions, even if that wasn't the intent of what you were saying. Or
Also,
whoever controls the narrative first
Exactly.
wins.
Exactly.
Now what I'm waiting for is that NSA sizzle reel of like America's Funniest Home Videos, but it's from the NSA. And they just start releasing all the clips of people doing stupid shit in public. Like somebody should make a fake NSA YouTube channel and start releasing security camera footage as if it was like taken from NSA servers. That would be it's like it can be the moderator can be like E. Snowden. It'll be fantastic. It will be hilarious in how dystopian and awful it will be.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get started, guys, I want to remind everyone to like this video. Leave a comment on this video if you have not done so already. Subscribe to this channel. We just passed 58,000 subscribers yesterday, so thank you very much. Also, you know what? If you have a $20 and over super chat, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read it right then and there. People had stuff to say earlier about the market for singles being released for music. They were talking to Phil about that. So remember, we will interrupt the discussion and we will get back on topic as quickly as possible, hopefully without losing our train of thought. Yesterday, I totally lost my train of thought. Luckily, Dane remembered what the hell he was talking about. So it was okay. All right, let's get started then. So Lizzo, she is back in the news. We cover Lizzo a lot here. She's a heavy topic of discussion on this channel. It says Lizzo claps back at Tennessee's laws banning drag shows in public places, invites drag queen star performers with her on stage at a show in Tennessee. It's really funny how both her and Maren Morris are just ignoring everything and just doing it like, take that, you incels.
Maren Morris was honestly worse because her whole thing was preaching about exposing her 2-year-old son to drag queens.
$20 one right there.
This one's from Alfred LaRock. He said, in Rhode Island, have World War II transcript 16-inch vinyl discs played at Marine bases. Don't do business with Hitler, etc. Does anyone have working 16-inch record player? Granddad was 5th Division at, I don't know what that is.
5th Division
at
Iwo Jima.
Oh, Iwo Jima. Brink of World War III as the last World War II vet passes. Well, I hope not.
Maybe somebody can make that. Maybe somebody
case.
can make that Grimes AI song called "Don't Do Business with Hitler."
Oh yeah.
That's what they can do.
No, what they're going to do is
Do business with Hitler.
Yeah,
that's what they'll say.
that's the Grimes song that they're about to make.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Maren Morris.
Yeah,
right?
Maren Morris.
I literally just thought of the lyrics for that song that I'm not saying.
Yes.
Okay.
But as soon as you said that, I came up with a chorus right off the bat.
You make it. Do it.
It's kind of got, you know, the song "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy."
Okay.
It's kind of got
I
that
know that
melody. I'll sing it off the air.
So Maren Morris was preaching to a crowd in Nashville about how she has exposed her 2-year-old son to drag queens in a dressing room. And this is her idea of appropriate entertainment for toddlers. And now Lizzo had this show in Knoxville, Tennessee. Here is an excerpt of her speech from that night. She said, in light of recent and tragic events and current events, I was told by people on the internet, cancel your shows in Tennessee, don't go to Tennessee. Their reason was valid, but why would I not come to the people who need to hear this message the most? Why would I not create a safe space in Tennessee where we can celebrate drag entertainers and celebrate our differences? What people in Tennessee are doing is giving hope. So thank you so much for standing up for your rights, protecting each other, and holding the people accountable who should be protecting us. And,
I despise activist celebrities. I
how about we
despise them
just
with every
show
fiber of my body.
this video from her concert? There are like 20 drag queens on stage with her. And honestly, I feel bad saying this, but they're indistinguishable from Lizzo.
Okay. Can we play the music?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's not really audible. This is our culture now.
The U.S. of gay.
Loves it. This is why, like, it's when I hear America is the great Satan, I'm like, you know, maybe we are. I'm willing to hear that argument. I'm willing to entertain that argument. Because what is this? All right, that's quite enough. Quite enough. And it's just really misleading because when they keep referring to like laws of like banning drag queens and like they're denying our existence and blah blah blah, they're referring to a law that actually it was signed into law by their governor in Tennessee, but then it was blocked by a judge because the judge thought that the wording in it was too vague. And here is what it said. It forbids adult cabaret entertainment on public property or in locations where it could be viewed by a minor, defining the term as topless dancers, go-go dancers, exotic dancers, strippers, or male or female impersonators. That would include drag queens.
Yes.
And all this is saying you can't use public property, meaning it is for private venues only, and you cannot expose children to drag performances. I think that's pretty reasonable. But here Lizzo is, once again, going against that expectation at an all ages concert where people bring their children. Unfortunately, there are parents out there who bring their children to Lizzo concerts, and this is what they saw that night. I'm not okay with that, and I don't think I should have to be. I don't think that makes me a hateful person.
I just hate...
It's also tiresome.
I hate the speechwriter bullshit language of the... when somebody says denying my existence, it's not a real thing. Nobody's saying you don't exist. Adding restrictions to adult activities to keep children away from them is not denying anyone's existence.
Yep.
And the tiresome language of everything that looks like it's been written by a PR rep is so grating and so annoying, and is somehow worse today because I have a cough. Somehow, hearing all that was worse today. And they're not saying anything. They're not accomplishing anything. And when she does this, I just have to wonder if 10 years ago, and somebody was talking about the downfall of Western culture, if I would have put fat ass musician with drag performers on my bingo card anywhere. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, this is like kind of a point I've made before, but once you get to a certain weight, everyone's gender neutral. Yeah. You kind of don't have sexual characteristics anymore.
I wish I'd heard that earlier, like a decade earlier.
We were kind of in a back and forth about this before the show, Phil. What was your impression from this video?
So these drag queens do not strike me as scantily clad. When I hear the term or the phrase scantily clad, my brain defaults to Victoria's Secret models. These people look like they are dressed for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, to be fair,
they do not look like they don't dressed
look
for
very
sexual activity. They look like they are dressed to like save Earth from a green menace.
They don't look distinguishable from what the average female professional wrestler would wear.
Yeah.
And kids go to WWE events all the time.
I'm not even sure if that's something we should celebrate necessarily. But like,
just because you're right doesn't mean I like it.
If women you guys found hot were wearing these outfits, I guarantee you would not be saying that this doesn't look scantily clad. That slit up Lizzo's dress is basically past the fupa. Everything is out. The other performers, if you can tell, are barely wearing clothing. There is one with like crotch
when I point out that this is a different thing to Victoria's Secret models,
it's different.
You acknowledge that there's a significant difference, and you acknowledge that these people are wearing significantly more clothing than Victoria's Secret models. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Okay.
I mean, but that doesn't mean that they're not scantily clad, and it also doesn't mean that they're not both objectionable. If you're thinking about bringing children to a Victoria's Secret lingerie show, I'm also going to object to that.
That's fine.
So, I mean, when these people try to, call out hypocrisy and say, well, you think that toddlers being in beauty pageants is okay, so this is okay. No, everything, all of it, not okay.
Yeah.
I don't care who is doing it, if they are from a red state or a blue state. It's not okay. It's weird.
Yes.
I'm against all sexualization of children, all exposure of sexual stuff to kids. It's bad, regardless of what you call it or what civil rights movement you think that it promotes. I don't care. It's all gross. And I think that we've also been highly desensitized to what is sexual because we're in such a hypersexualized and also like sexually broken and somehow like sexless society that is where everybody is like exposed to hypersexuality in media all the time, but it's sapped of all actual human libido. And like I think that's one reason why the Victoria's Secret fashion show, by the way, was put on a hiatus, is because they thought that they were moving in the direction of, you know, giving women, a market of women, what they want, and they massively they made a massive mistake of like what they think women wanted versus what men wanted from that company, and didn't realize that, you know, when you're selling a fantasy to women, the fantasy you're selling to them is being what men want. Anyway, that's a totally different discussion that we had on this show.
Have we had that on this show? Because that's actually
not with you.
I watched. I posted a really interesting video the other day on Twitter that a guy made about the age of the sexless heroine in movies today.
Freaking Brie Larson.
No, Brie Larson is on the cover of is on the thumbnail, and a big part of what they point out is like, well, he doesn't point this out, but one of the things that I remembered was like, look, yes, but that's because those are Marvel characters, they're Disney, Star Wars characters, but it's not like you're going to Euphoria and seeing sexless women. It's these mass-marketed Fortune 500 Disney properties that are being marketed to an amorphous blob of ageless people who are forever young in their mindset, so it can appeal to both them, their kids, and their grandparents, which is why you get the sexless heroine. I don't care about any of that. I just want these people to talk like normal people again. I just want them to
that.
Be a real human being.
All that is
talk like human beings.
That's all political jargon. Yeah. That's all political jargon.
I freaking hate it.
That's great. I want more people to hate it. I want more people to get upset about it.
I despise it.
It sucks because Lizzo is talented and doesn't have to lean on all of this political agenda marketing, but she does it anyway. It's really not the move. But I guess whatever gets you in with the mega corporations and the media. And then we also saw Kevin Bacon weigh in on this issue. Yeah. He made a TikTok with his wife where they're wearing a shirt that says, "Drag is an art and drag is a right." How about we play that video real quick for
I'm so amazed by
everyone.
How many things are human rights nowadays.
Yeah, right? Like what isn't a human right now?
Basically. The right to own a firearm.
Yeah, the right to defend your life.
There's a Taylor Swift song playing in the background, so we can't play that. But yeah, it's not embarrassing at all.
Kira Sedgwick has looked roughly the same age. Like, she's looked old. But not old, but just old for like 20 years. Not in a bad way, just like older than
older,
young.
You mean?
Yeah. Like, I really can't put it into words.
Eternal middle age.
Yeah, she kind of is, dude. She's like... She just stopped aging after a certain point.
So this was the caption on Kevin Bacon's TikTok. He said, "Tap the link in my bio to shop the hashtag 6 Degrees of KB campaign supporting the ACLU Drag Defense Fund in the nationwide effort to protect creative expression or make a gift. Hashtag drag is a right." So this is in collaboration with his own nonprofit that he runs called 6 Degrees. And I guess the whole...
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
But the whole... their tagline is like, "You're 6 degrees of separation away from somebody in need," or whatever. So and I looked on his website. I was scouring through this website the other day, and I think that he's using this front of talking about unity and talking about positive impact.
There's the buzzwords again.
And
Here
all
it
of
comes again.
These buzzwords, exactly like you're saying, Brett, where you're not talking like a real person. You're not being a real human being.
SJWs
You're just
don't
hiding
well.
behind a shield of positive, like toxically positive language, as well as human shields. Like
big fat Lizzo-sized human shields.
He has like showcased causes on this website, which include like pediatric cancer awareness and housing insecurity and stuff like that. Which is like, who in their right mind could protest? That who could protest like helping kids with cancer? Obviously,
F them kids.
But then when he uses the same nonprofit to talk about how drag is an art, drag is a right, and we need to protect drag queens' fundamental human right to perform in front of children. I'm just like wondering where we lost the plot here. Like I don't know like what the connection is between like the kids with cancer and the drag queens.
She's thinking Johnny Depp was too busy to go play Captain Jack Sparrow at the hospital full of sick kids, so they're gonna have the drag performers come in and do it instead.
And then they're like, no,
that's what's gonna happen.
mommy, help!
Exactly. They want Jack
monster
Sparrow.
clowns.
Yeah.
Like kids are already afraid of clowns, and I remember being deathly afraid of clowns. So I don't know how kids are watching drag queens these days.
Yep.
And aren't terrified out of their minds.
What we should be making them scared of is press releases written by shitty press writers who don't know how to talk like human beings.
It's not just the press writers though. Like these actual celebrity talking heads, they do ideologically align with the things that they're preaching, and I do want to hold them personally accountable for pushing these messages. And they're also misrepresenting the issue on purpose. Yeah. Because we all know now that law was not calling for an outright ban of drag shows. We just don't want drag shows shown to children. I think that's a fairly simple cause to get behind, and I wish it was something we could all agree on.
We can't. It'll never happen because the language will consistently be obfuscated behind flowery language. Yeah. It's never going to work. I mean, but that's been one of the problems forever, right? Is like if somebody's talking to you and they're using all this soaring rhetoric, you should be immediately suspicious.
Yeah,
all the time.
Discredit all of the positive impact that you could have made on people's lives when you align yourself with a phony cause that divides people along political lines. Yeah. So I don't respect this at all, and it's kind
also
of a disgusting, like self-promoting move.
Well, if you're ever going to use a human shield, Lizzo's a good one to use. So
yeah.
All right, let's we got some super chats there, Mary.
Last of My Kind said, Phil, the other day you were trying to remember the Four Chords song by The Axis of Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, yes. And it's flowery. Sorry, my brain stopped working there for a minute there because I'm not feeling super good.
He said also, howdy PCC crew, perfect thing to listen to. #workin'.
Yes,
or hardly working.
I wonder if our show, if it's hard because of the time of day we're on, right? Like a lot of people are working midday.
There are different time zones too.
Yeah, so I don't know. But
for some people, I guess we'd be on their lunch break.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Ryan Kennel said, "Love Anne Boleyn."
Yes, I haven't. Now I'm going to listen to Anne Boleyn after the show tonight. I haven't listened to Anne Boleyn in years.
Baron of Grey Matter said, "Mary, please try Mulane tincture drops. Your cough will disappear. Can buy in most supplement stores or online." Well, now Brett needs it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that after this. Let's read one
I kind
more.
of like to languish in my suffering.
Oh, I don't ever buy cough drops or anything like that. Like last year when we first started, before we went live, I had a really bad cough, and I did Dayquil one day, and it was awful. It's made me all jittery and worse than normal. So no, thank you.
Yeah,
there's something special about suffering in silence. I
spent my sickness watching Love on the Spectrum.
There you go.
It was
awful,
but also great.
Let's do one more, and then we will move on.
Wayward Soul said, "Sleep's Dope Smoker is one track, 63 minutes 35 seconds. Metal AF."
Wow. All right. All right.
It's called Dope Smoker.
Sleep? Right. Sleep's Dope Smoker? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
All right. Woo! No! Oh, God. I forgot to change the Crisis Party sound effect because I wasn't feeling well today. It's the same one from last week. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Sorry about that. The one for this week too. It's a bunch. It's Tom Cruise yelling at his crew from a movie, and Christian Bale yelling at his crew from a movie. So it's probably just as much of an assault in the sense.
I love that.
Yes, that'll be tomorrow. All right, we're moving on.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Tell us about Glen Powell, Mary.
Yeah, this next story is kind of incredible vibes because it's very classic Hollywood. Right now, Glen Powell, you might have seen him in Top Gun Maverick, and Sydney Sweeney, who you might have seen in Euphoria, are filming a rom-com together called Anyone But You. And it's going to be R-rated. It's going to be steamy based on the videos we've seen from set so far.
And Mary will not like it, and she will protest and say that the sex scenes were not necessary.
I don't know if there will be any, but that's the conversation for a different day.
Yes, it is.
Right now, people are suspecting that Glen Powell has been cheating on his girlfriend with Sydney Sweeney because his girlfriend, Gigi Paris, unfollowed Sydney Sweeney on Instagram after some videos came out that were kind of questionable.
Isn't it weird how unfollowing someone has formed a kind of social status? Like it's now a statement to unfollow someone on social media. I don't unfollow anyone for that exact reason. There are people that I follow that I not because I don't like them, but we don't have cause to interact anymore. And
I mean, I think if they're both public figures and they know that people pay attention to who they're following, they use that to make statements.
And it happens like when The Rock unfollowed people during Black Adam and stuff like that. There was like when a celebrity does it, it gets noticed and people point it out. So it's also it's a sign to the great autism of the internet that people notice this.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part. Like where like there's some guy whose job he just works a desk job and all day he's got the Taylor Swift tracker.
It's not only that. There are people like political people that just follow other hate follow them. There's people that get paid to hate follow. Like Tucker Carlson just got fired. There were people that were having parties because they're like, super pumped about it. I'm like, you're losing your job.
Yeah.
He is out.
Oh, like that girl whose entire career at Media Matters is to watch Tucker Carlson tonight, and now it no longer exists. Well, shit, what are you gonna do, girl?
There's a great skit there where she starts going through like she gets oddly sad, where
she misses Tuck.
She's touching the TV and going like
watching old
I
YouTube
miss you,
videos.
Tucky.
I miss you, Tuck.
I'm just telling you, where he's wearing the bow tie and she's just like reaching up at the TV trying to straighten it for him.
We need Don Lemon to get hired by Fox, and we need Fox to hire, and then we need CNN to hire Tucker Carlson. They need to swap.
I don't know.
Or they should go into business together. Tucker Lemon. I want it. Lemonson.
Anyway, we've got some videos to show you of Glen Powell and Sydney Sweeney, and I just want to know y'all's opinion. Are they going a little too far, or is it all a part of the job?
Are we showing the couch one first?
Yeah, whatever works.
Let's go with this one first. Okay. No.
I think this might have been the final straw for Gigi.
Oh, it was too much for her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh.
I think she saw that. She's like, look how happy he is.
Yeah.
Not on my watch,
Look at the way he looks
Gigi
at her.
Paris. Look, I'm telling you right now, I can actually, now that I hear it, there's people back there. If this is a movie
I
set,
thought that was Glen Powell laughing.
you can hear people in the background.
Can you?
Play it again.
Oh my God.
You can,
I thought that was them laughing.
I guarantee, if this is a movie set, there's 50 people on the other side of that camera that are watching what this is happening. And a lot of times it's just, you have to develop a rapport with an actor, especially if you're going to play, they do chemistry tests for movies like this, right? They need to know that you're going to be able to bring this story to life. And to do that, it has to be believable that you would like each other. And that requires a certain amount of chemistry with this actor. Now, it can be very hard, and plenty of actors have cheated on their spouses on sets of movies like this. There you go. So, and that's why he can't do the love scene. That's why they don't let him do the sex scenes anymore. His wife's like, not on my watch.
It's on a tight leash.
So, look, I get the wife's.
I mean, if he's still an actor that can star opposite leading women, I mean, how tight is the leash?
He does not do any sex scenes anymore, though.
At least not on that show.
So that people said, like, the vibe that gives is he stepped out of line and now he's on a tight leash.
I mean, look, I'm a big fan of the Pence rule personally.
Don't.
Can an actor do the Pence rule?
I don't know if they
Probably
could or
not.
not. Maybe not. But I mean, personally, I think that the Pence rule is a good rule.
And there are
Better
people on
safe
the
than
other
sorry.
side of the
Yeah.
camera. I don't deny that, and I don't deny a lot of this stuff is contrived and it's marketing for the rom-com.
Well, it's like, look, when you're doing these scenes and there's a bunch of people watching you, you're naturally not necessarily anxious, but
Look,
it's uncomfortable.
Look, you're putting two attractive people together that are gonna
Stuff
have to get
happens.
along. I mean, it's really, really, really hard.
Yep.
And it's expecting a lot on a relationship. Look, if you want to be an actor, like date loosely, but like if you want
that's
a serious
the point,
relationship,
though. Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying.
What are you saying? Say it again.
Actors can't like be normal people. Like they are not able to have the same.
They're not normal.
Well, you can, but you have to
relationships.
you have to take into account your reality. Like, so if you're married, then maybe you shouldn't be doing rom-coms and romantic roles and stuff like that, where that's the focus. Like, sure, like it's fine for Tom Cruise to do Mission Impossible with a leading lady. There's one love scene in it, but it's not a rom-com where you have to make out all the time. You know what I mean?
Neil McDonough doesn't do sex scenes in his movies because he's a Christian, and said he won't do them in that for a long time. He was it wasn't looked fondly upon in Hollywood because he wouldn't do it.
I think you don't even need to be in a relationship that you're supposedly protecting to object to doing sex scenes. I think that a lot of people, like normal people outside of Hollywood and the Hollywood sphere, would find it disturbing if there was publicly available material of you in sexual situations, whether it's simulated or not, whether it's porn or on a mainstream site like Netflix. That isn't something that most people are comfortable with. And that's why I'm saying actors can't really be in normal relationships, because you have to date other people for whom this culture is normal. And I don't think it should be. I don't think that sex scenes, I've said this before on the show, I don't think that sex scenes I don't think they do have like very much artistic merit. And I think they are usually done for like pornographic arousal. I don't think that they serve stories.
I thought of one the other day that was actually pretty good. Like, I was trying to think of ones, like, after we had discussion, we ended up talking about that on that episode with Mark Pellegrino. We ended up talking about that topic. And I remembered the...
Someone in the chat just said Missionary Impossible, and
Okay.
I'm
sure that movie's been made. Also, somebody said, is that
Holy
the cast?
Virgin.
Or
on
is
the
it
couch?
possible?
Yes. Missionary possible. But yeah, so let's watch the other video.
Yeah, we've got more evidence.
Yes. Sleuths, as you said, internet sleuths. So this is the one.
This is from the Daily Mail.
Yep, here we go.
This is probably while they're filming.
Yes.
You got like
No.
they're two attractive young people.
Take that hand off it. If that camera's not rolling,
Is the camera rolling?
I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah, there's a boom mic right there. What the hell? Yeah, of course it's
Yeah,
rolling,
yeah.
yeah.
See, like,
Did she just hit him in the crotch?
Yeah, it was part of the scene.
Okay.
I mean, I don't
got
know if it was part of the scene, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then we got the one more. We got the video of her on the pier or whatever.
Yes.
Yes, this one.
This one's cool.
Audio. No music for me. I think we'll get copyrighted. Yeah, we're gonna get copyrighted on that.
He hops out of a helicopter in a tuxedo.
He's coming to save her
yeah, but I mean, this is all
on
like
set. They're
Yeah,
recording.
yeah.
Wait, why are they recording with like a gimbal and like a DSLR?
I don't know what Hollywood's doing these days.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that they're recording it on like a, I guess maybe because it's on the pier. But
black
yeah,
magic.
so like, look, it'll play tricks on you, but it's very classic Hollywood for like a male lead to like supposedly be in deep trouble because he's like banging his co-star. It's very 90s.
It's all part of the intrigue for people,
Yeah.
actually, to watch the movie if they think that there's behind-the-scenes drama like this. This is why Don't Worry, Darling, almost 100% of the press around that movie was about the relationship drama behind it and not the actual story. Probably because the story kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And it was just feminist message garbage. But yeah, like this is probably contrived by the studio.
Yeah.
You know?
Think so?
But
They asked Gigi Paris to unfollow her from Twitter so that they could start the rumor.
Gigi Paris for not wanting to see clips like this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why are you dating an actor?
He's like coming home. He's like, Sweeney, we shot this great scene today.
Job.
He's like showing her the dailies on his phone. He's like, we shot this great scene today. Look at the way the camera sweeps in right as I grab her ass. It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
And she's like, that's great, Glenn. Dinner's ready. And she's like, yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I do feel kind of bad for her, but it would be funny if the network was like, or if the studio's like, unfollow him and we'll leak the story, or unfollow her and we'll leak the story, and then they'll go out on press tours together and she'll be giving her the side eye all day.
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Also, I love how the name Gigi Paris, you just need to hear it and you know that she is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I bet you there's actually laws in place that prevent you from being hot,
named
like
Gigi Paris
unless you're
and
smoking
not hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, these are two...
Gigi Paris is not a 10.
Oof.
I mean, it's after a certain ceiling, that's just what I said before the show, like after a certain point, it's kind of all the same.
If we're looking
like
at
Sydney
them,
Sweeney and Gigi Paris are both basically like it's all the same.
They're both very attractive,
and it all just depends on who is around Glen Powell at the moment.
Well, so what are you saying? Men are dogs?
Maybe
is that
Glen
what you're
Powell
saying?
is.
Men are dogs. Now we're gonna pull up a picture of both.
It's not unheard of.
Do you know who Reality Winner is?
Yeah, she was she was imprisoned for releasing classified material.
How do so many people at this company know who Reality Winner is?
I know all that stuff.
Okay.
Sydney Sweeney is playing Reality Paris in an upcoming
Not
movie.
Reality Paris.
Winner.
It's Reality
That's
Winner.
even better. Reality Winner.
I'm pretty sure that Sydney Paris is way better looking than Reality Winner.
Everyone is saying Paris.
Yes.
Whatever.
Sydney Sweeney is way better looking than Reality Winner, but
Reality Winner.
No, that's what
everyone has a better looking actress in the biopic. Okay?
I made like a side by side and sent it to Mary and felt bad even after making it because I was like I don't remember. Was it you're like well, she looks unfortunate.
She looks like a foot, right?
No, yeah, the real Reality Winner in reality.
Yeah, she looks like
she's
Mary's like, she looks unfortunate.
She's unfortunate. And also, like, doesn't look like she doesn't look very intelligent.
Okay, here's Gigi Paris.
Yeah, like her and Sydney Sweeney, I would say about equal attractiveness. Like, it just depends on whoever's around Glen Powell
on that particular day
and who has the most riz.
Who has the most what?
The Riz factor.
Riz factor is important.
I don't know what
the Riz factor we can't account for. We would need to interact with them in person.
So yeah, like I can't wait to watch Sydney Sweeney play Reality Winner. That's going to be hilarious.
I can.
It's going to be. I said I can't wait.
I can wait.
You can wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious. She's like, oh my god, She's like, I speak like Pashto. It's going to be great. Like,
I think just don't date actors if you are looking for a normal relationship, because it's just something that's expected in Hollywood because it's so degenerate that you have to do certain things for these roles.
Was that the couch there on the actual casting couch? I have no idea.
Possible.
That could have been the actual casting couch.
Possible.
All right. We got a couple of super chats there, Mary.
Yes. Hobbit said, I don't really listen to music, so I'm confused. Yeah, didn't you say that before? You just don't like music?
That's not...
It's not...
That's a very good life.
I have not been listening to much music lately because I just don't want to go to the trouble of finding more music that I like, and I just
that's
like
my favorite
podcasts.
Part. I like
growing up.
I go through phases where I find like a bunch of music at one time, and then I listen to it extensively.
I don't like looking for music,
and then find more of it as I go. Like it tends to. I don't find it intermittently, or I find it intermittently. I don't find it on a consistent basis. At least not stuff that really speaks to me.
James Orenthal once said Maynard and Rob Zombie included their art on albums. Nope. I think I heard somebody recently argue that Rob Zombie is an equal filmmaker with Quentin Tarantino.
That's not accurate at all. I mean, So there was a great meme posted the other day. So just remember this scene when Quentin Tarantino had them drink spill champagne down their leg and go off their foot into their mouth, and then
that was the
in Dust or not Dust
Till Dawn.
Yeah, and he goes, and then he casted himself to be the one who got.
Yes, he did.
Funny how that works, right? Like, you know, and like he's like, I don't have a foot fetish, and you know, it's like I don't care if you do. Like, just say, I don't know. Like, he should be like, yes.
You don't have to have a foot fetish to have a Selma Hayek fetish.
Yeah, well, that dude, that is 100%.
But any feet will
true.
do.
Speaking of tens,
for Quentin.
Selma Hayek is
a beautiful woman, and she has been beautiful for it seems like 1,000 years.
As long as I've been alive,
yeah,
I bet.
she's gorgeous.
Because she's in her 50s now.
Yeah,
so
she's 56.
Yeah.
Too bad she's such a bad person.
Is it?
Oh, because she's married to Balenciaga guy, or
she's married to a guy who owns an auction website that sells
very naughty
statues
stuff,
of naked
yeah.
children.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, read one more and then we'll move on.
Quiet Inari said, "Can we send cute of the day to Insta? I know Twitter."
No.
Sorry.
Sorry. It's too hard for me to keep track of it on Instagram. I lose the messages and I don't have the tags attached to it. It's just easier to link on Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But or maybe if you know a guy who knows a guy who's got a Twitter, you could send it to them, and then they could send it to me on Twitter.
You gotta know a guy to know a guy.
You gotta know a guy to know a guy. Exactly.
It all gets very complicated.
All right, we are gonna move on, guys. So tell us all about this very, very unfortunate tragedy, man.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Ollie London. He was on the Culture War podcast with a guy named Tim Pool.
I've heard of him.
And it's a similar story. People get enthralled and just enamored with these K-pop idols to the point where they start chemically and surgically altering themselves to emulate them. And this is another example of that. This was an actor from Canada named Saint Von Colucci, I believe, only 22 years old, who recently died in South Korea as a complication from one of his plastic surgeries, one of 12 plastic surgeries that he got in an effort to look like Jimin from BTS. And here's basically what happened. He got implants in his jaw that were likely made of silicone, and this kind of stuff can get real dangerous real quick, and it's not as regulated in other countries. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people travel to get these types of surgeries, like in Turkey and other like Asian countries where it's cheaper, it's less regulated. But there's a reason that it's highly regulated in the West. It's extremely dangerous to get implants of silicone in your body. Your body can very often react to it as if it's an autoimmune disease and start attacking it as a foreign agent, because it is a foreign substance that's been introduced to your body. It can easily get infected. There's also a time limit where you have to replace it after a certain amount of years, and if you believe society is about to collapse, then you probably shouldn't do that because it could kill you. And that's what this situation was. It was only a few months ago that he got the implants.
Somebody should make like a parody of a dystopian movie, like where like they're doing it and somebody just dies on the battlefield of implants.
Like, this is what I think about. Like, if society collapses, do you really want to have to cut out your breast implants 10 years down the line? There's a time limit, 10 years to replace them. Do you think that everything is going to be up and running by then? Like, be realistic.
It's going to be amazing.
Or cut them out of your face or wherever you've put them. Like, we were just talking about Black China. She got a 9-hour procedure to suck the silicone out of her body.
Yep.
9 hours of just excruciating discomfort.
I wonder how informed they are beforehand. How
That's
informed they are about
They're
what the
not.
process is like to get removed.
And this is also somebody in a foreign country where I'm sure there's a language barrier. In South Korea, which has a huge plastic surgery industry.
I imagine
with natives and people from other countries.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, moments ago, about the safety of it. I imagine a place like South Korea is probably safe. Now, this is not to say that that procedures don't come with inherent risks, obviously. But if there's a place in the world that I'm getting a procedure, South Korea is among the places where I would say, okay, I feel good about that. Far more than anywhere in, far better than likely anywhere in the rest of Asia, probably. I mean, save for maybe Japan, but I wouldn't want to go to China or any other countries.
But we're going off vibes.
But more.
And I don't think you want to put your life on the line with vibes.
I don't need to get silicone in my chin.
12. It's 12 of any procedure is going to carry inherent risk because you're just putting yourself at risk more often.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you shown a picture of this person?
Yeah.
I'd like to show a picture of Saint Von Colucci. This person is obviously, someone who's born, looking very different from the way that he looked when he died. He is a white person who set out to look like he is Asian. And
there's the before of the surgery right there.
Yeah. And Ollie London spoke from personal experience about this on many occasions. It's transracialism plus all of the procedures that come with like transgenderism.
I was gonna say, think about if you want to wonder how we got to the concept of gender affirming care. Yes. There's a pretty straight line from I need these procedures to feel good about myself and I mean, you could make the argument in a lot of ways to just about anything. Like there are people who get other procedures that are cosmetic that aren't necessarily something this serious, right?
Sure,
people cap their teeth.
There's obviously gradations to the procedures
but when we start talking about you get these things done just to feel good about yourself, and then you go all the way down to, well, if we don't give this procedure to this kid, he might sewer slide.
Right. It's like, where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
Because if it's arbitrary, it's going to keep getting pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
This person had spent $220,000 on plastic surgeries.
Insane.
And what was it all for?
Death.
There are female models who's literally that's what they do for a living. They get plastic surgery, and they have basically they have like Patreons where people just donate money so they can continue extreme body modification.
A surrogate life purpose for people. Mm-hmm. And the fact that doctors are completely legally permitted to participate in this delusion,
because it makes them mone.
Because it's a profit-driven industry.
Mary's calling for socialism in communism. You heard it here first, ladies.
Well, I'm just saying, like, imagine if this were liability for insurance companies. For private insurance companies.
Yep.
I don't think this would be as bad of a problem. We were talking about this before. Like, obviously, a boob job isn't necessarily covered under your medical insurance, but why is gender affirming care?
Well, that should.
What's the line?
Yeah.
And does the line make any freaking sense? I don't think it does.
And it would be different to every person anyways, right? Like everyone's going to have a different...
Are you discriminating against somebody because they were born Asian inside their soul, but they're white on the outside? Like, that's... Where do we draw the line?
I have no idea. And it's a scary thing. I mean, it's kind of like the notion. It's like, just because we've created all this technology, you never thought about whether we should.
Yeah.
Like, we did it because we could, but we never thought about whether we should.
There's just this constant drive toward like self-optimization. And it's basically transhumanism, or it's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like in the movies. It's going to be ugly, and a lot of people are going to die as a result. This is just one example of this insanity.
And it speaks to, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's not just speaking to that. It's speaking to the power of people being obsessed with celebrities too.
Yeah,
because he has a specific person that he wants to look like.
And they have like these idol training programs that you are in for years before you're debuted by whatever studio owns your likeness and your complete like identity as a celebrity in South Korea.
Yeah.
And that obviously like that involves a lot of plastic surgery too. And that's completely aside from like,
I mean, I see
gender stuff or transracialist stuff.
I see this and I think Machine Gun Kelly. That's what I think of when I see that. Like,
well, that is probably
before.
a picture from like many years ago.
It says 2019.
Yeah.
2019. Looks like Machine Gun Kelly to me.
I just don't. I don't know how someone can, like a doctor who's complicit in this happening, can continue practicing.
That hairstyle in 2019?
Yeah.
I thought that went out of style in like
Well, he's probably singing that emo song that they always put in those Instagrams and the TikToks.
What?
The one.
What, Grandpa?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's probably playing some type of prank. I like it.
Did you see anything that this actor was in?
Not anything that I'd ever seen before, but in general, like to me, it's more about the fact that he wants to be a specific person. That's the scariest part to me, is to want to look like. I can understand the idea of wanting to look different than you are, or thinking that you're not up to your generic, or not generic, but your own standard of beauty, right? You're like, I look like this, I want to look better. Like, but to think of it as an actual person, and then to go and spend that much money to look like an actual person, you're never going to be happy because you're never going to be that person. That's scary.
Yeah, and also, like, if you go after a medical procedure looking for happiness, happiness is a moving target, and you're always going to lose if that's what you're going after.
So are we saying that if he'd said, I want to look like Sydney Sweeney, it would have been covered by the government because it would have been gender-affirming care?
Yeah, which just shows that the line that they're drawing is totally arbitrary.
Yep.
I think I looked this up, and basically, depending on what state you live in, private insurance may or may not cover so-called gender-affirming care, sex reassignments. So-called.
I mean,
surgeries.
it sounds extremely. Thank you. It sounds extremely not covered. Like, it shouldn't be covered by any insurance to me. But now they're making that argument. Like, if you don't do this now, your kid is going to DIE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Like, that's the
Which
argument
is a
most of them
hostage
are making.
situation.
Yeah,
that
totally.
you're putting people in.
100%.
Yeah.
But though I think that there's so much of the transgender, the arguments made by transgender activists or LGBTQ activists, they're all manipulation. It's all, if you don't, we're going to die.
It's mailing the pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally mailing the pinky.
If you don't, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
If you don't give me the, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill myself.
It's like
And
the
that's
toxic couple that gets in a fight, and the cops show up, and the one of them is like, if you're not with me, I'm not going to be with anyone.
It's Van Gogh's ear.
Yes. Yeah. It's terrifying. I'm more frightened by the desire to look like a specific person.
Yeah, and like, what is that person supposed to make of it?
Yeah.
I know that Jimin has gotten plastic surgeries.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even look like me.
Jimin's image is not Jimin.
Yeah, he's like,
you know?
I'm not even me.
Yeah,
like, let alone, why would you want to be me? Like, that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any analog in my life where I would look at a certain person and be like, that guy. That's who I want to look like. Because at a certain point, especially when you're young, you have to develop a certain amount of comfort in how you look. Eventually, but that's scary to me, and I think that comes from a culture that seems to talk a lot about self-esteem, but doesn't ever actually, being yourself, but never actually works on our self-esteem, because they never push you to do the active things you can do to have better self-esteem. They don't tell you to be more active. They tell you to just like yourself the way you are.
When the advice that's given to you is, you should just like yourself the way you are. You should be happy with the way you are, that there's nothing to improve on. Yeah. Then you end up with really awful people because they don't think of doing things to better themselves. Yeah. The idea that you must work to improve yourself doesn't just occur to people, especially when you've got all the people in your life telling you, oh, you're good, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you do is fine. You've got, or you hear all those kind of things from the internet or whatever. So the idea that you need to go and work hard, and that you need to do things and work to improve yourself is foreign to a lot of people.
Which is crazy to me, because a big part of my life is like, I think about this in a certain context, which is that life is long. And it's never something that's just static. I'm always moving from whether it's work that day to skating that night. I would be miserable if I was just sitting around all day. I used to be able to do that because I was using drugs. Now I can't just sit still, and I can't just be happy with how I am that way, just in that moment. I can't really calm down until it's the very end of the night, right? So you have to think of life as moving from one goal to accomplish to the next, and a big part of that should be about self-improvement, if for no other reason than it's going to benefit your own mental health. And we're not telling kids to do that. We're telling them they're fine just as they are, but then people develop neuroses like this.
Mm-hmm.
There are some quotes from his publicist that suggest this might have something to do with our global culture.
Yes, I would say that that's actually fairly accurate because 2 decades ago, an American or a Canadian might not be.
Would you know who Jimin is?
Yeah, would you know who this person is?
This quote said, he was very insecure about his looks. He had a very square jawline and chin and didn't like the shape of it because he thought it was too wide and wanted a V shape, the shape that many Asians have. He was very unhappy about his appearance and insecure about his face. It was very hard for him to get a job in South Korea, and he felt very discriminated against for his Western looks. He was blonde,
so he was living there,
blue-eyed, tall. And he was living in South Korea,
well, that makes
trying
sense.
to get into their music industry.
It makes sense that he would feel insecure about it there because he'd feel helpless, like there's nothing he can do in this situation.
Yeah.
They also wouldn't hold back at pointing out that he's...
That kind of is a thing, because I think they've even recruited like Eurasian-looking Russian girls to be K-pop stars who have subsequently gotten hate essentially for being white.
Yeah.
So you can't.
So whose fault is Rachel Dolezal?
Oof.
This
is an ugly answer, but this is what happens when different groups live together in a shared space.
I think that it's more about. I think it's more about the perception that society, that being a victim is currency in our society, because the whole point that she's done is she's as an
career
activist
as well.
Her career as an activist and stuff like that. So I think that it's more about the victimhood currency, or victimhood being a currency.
At least at the most over the top examples.
Yeah.
In that
and that's
case.
like mixed with America's whole racial history and everything, but transracialism does not stop there. We're going to see more of it as a phenomenon, and not just in our cultural context.
You're going to see it more out. Maybe you'll see it outside the U.S. In the U.S., I think that there's going to be the progressives in the U.S. are going to put the lock on that. That is not going to be something that they're going to allow. Like, because essentially what's going on is we've got trans people, you've got men parading around as women, and whether you believe that they're women or whatever, that's your take or whatever, but that's essentially what it is. It's men saying we're women. You're not, and women are essentially accepting it. Black people are not going to accept white people being like, yo, I'm black now and I can just do. Black people are not having it. Sean King has been able to. I think he's been able to pull the wool. If it starts happening,
Logic.
What Logic? Who's Logic?
Rapper.
But he's mixed race.
Yeah, but it's just like increasingly we're gonna have situations where someone's racial authenticity is questioned.
I think black people will put their foot down. I really do think the progressives and black people will be like, nah.
Well, South Koreans.
What?
It's weird because the South Koreans get surgeries that make them ostensibly look more European looking.
Yeah, they want to look.
And again, the context that I'm talking about is only in the U.S. Like black people in the U.S. I don't think there would be like if it was in another country where people were trying to change their race or whatever. I don't think that it'll have the same kind of negative effect.
Did you ever see the Ryan Long skit where he says I voted for Joe Biden, and then like I'll send it to you later.
No.
I literally can't even describe it accurately on here. It's amazing. How is Sean King doing these days? What's that guy up to?
I don't know. All I know is like I got blocked by him on Twitter.
Big derp energy.
Times.
I think it's SHAUN in the chat. He said he's trying to spell Sean King, and he's like SEAN. I think it's SHAUN for Sean King.
Yeah, he's blocked.
I think I sent him like a picture of sunscreen, and I was like, "You need this."
He's one of my favorite people to just like. If you ever want a person who's just really good at just misrepresenting everything, he's fantastic at it. Like,
well,
anyway,
it's a leftist tactic or trait, but yeah.
I think if anybody is a cautionary tale about these types of things, it's Ollie London. and maybe he hasn't figured everything out. But and we've talked about him before and opined about what might be going through his head, but
and it's a sign
to
of
renounce the transracialism and the transgenderism stuff and try to be more like your authentic self that you were born to be. That's always moving in a positive direction.
So I think we actually, one thing that I see here, we need to find a middle ground, right? We're in a culture now where people are increasingly not happy with who they are, which we're seeing from something like this. Well, society tells them, you're fine just the way you are. You don't need to change a thing. You can be fat, lazy, sit on the couch and eat Cheetos all day. You need to find a middle ground where you accept the things that you cannot change, but you work on the things that you can.
Well, it's like, don't change yourself
almost like the Serenity
unless changing yourself costs money.
No, you should still spend money.
That's literally what it is.
If you need to spend money to go to a gym and get a trainer, you should go do that.
What I'm saying is, like, don't change yourself unless you're changing yourself in a way that profits a different, like, third party.
No, I mean, a personal trainer is still a third party. Surgery. We're talking life-altering cosmetic
that's
procedures.
The thing. Saint Von Colucci did not want to look more fit.
Yes.
There are things about yourself that you simply.
I'm saying all encompassing that, like, we need to address it on all levels. It's not just about cosmetically, it's about physically. And because a lot of it, for a lot of people, a lot of it stems from just not being happy with the way they look. And a lot of people might jump to those extremes without realizing that you might grow happier with the way you look if you take your physical fitness into your own hands, or even beyond that, find something else, like a physical activity that you like to do.
Physical exercise is so incredibly good for you and good for your mental health too. Go do something active, get your heart rate up, break a sweat, do something that you actually have to break a sweat, and it'll take a couple minutes. You can't just do a couple until your heart starts beating. You have to actually go out there and raise your blood pressure and stuff. But it's so incredibly good for you. And if you do it regularly, your body will change and you will feel better about yourself overall all the time.
These are solutions, and I won't discredit that at all. But I think that what this culture really needs is like a massive spiritual transformation.
Jesus.
It needs Jesus. Okay?
In a lot of... Okay, look. Like, for me, I go on about this all the time. When I go out and skate and I get exercise, I will post and I will tell people, I'm like, look... It sounds stupid. It sounds cliche.
I'm not saying it's stupid or cliche. I'm saying that there are things even more important than that. That's what's really gonna heal people like this. It's not gonna heal you to work out more.
I'm going to tell you right now that it's probably a slightly easier sell, at least at this point in time, to try and get people to exercise than to come to a spiritual awakening now.
Or they could also go to therapy, and that's like, when you say that, it has a lot of baggage attached to it. Yeah. Because of the corruption in that industry as well. But like, some level of introspection is needed.
Yes. I mean, even if not spiritually, I mean, I push that. I talk about that a lot too.
It's there's whole communities of bodybuilders with body dysmorphia and like steroid problems that are going through the same thing as like the same thing mentally. It's just like
bodybuilders. I've known some dudes that are bodybuilders. A lot of bodybuilders are in bodybuilding because they have those issues before they get into bodybuilding. It's not like.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, there's no...
That's not... So the lifting and exercise isn't about health for them, is what I'm saying. Like, they're not doing that for exercise for health. They're not doing it to feel better. They're taking drugs that you...
Like, change body chemistry,
Like, I mean, you don't look like a freak by just eating a lot of protein. Like, they're all...
Chicken.
Yeah, that ain't it. That ain't
Chicken and rice.
That's a lie.
Chicken and broccoli.
So, and I just want to say that about bodybuilders. Like, go out and get exercise. And what Mary's saying, there is value in that. Like, I'm not particularly a spiritual guy, but I do a little bit of the meditation kind of stuff. I like that whole present thing. It's nice. It feels good. So, there is a spiritual aspect to it, I think, on some level. So,
Yep. All right. There's a $20 one right there.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Clef the Misfit said, a truly healthy person requires a physical outlet, creative outlet, and a spiritual outlet.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I find, for me, at least for me. While skating, that's as close as I get to spiritual because it's the closest I get to living in the moment. Where meaning that I'm alone with my thoughts, I'm able to think more clearly. I think more clearly when I'm in between tricks skating and I'm able to just sit there and be calm as I'm breathing heavy than I can when doing the show. Right, so that's as close as I get to feeling spiritual because I'm completely lost in what I'm doing.
I think that the word spiritual also gets people into a lot of different places. Like they're thinking about a lot of different things when we say that word. And I don't think that it means you have to feel like a certain like woo woo way. It just, to me, when I say it, I mean you're submitting yourself to some objective truth, whatever you think that might be, and operating from that framework and not living in a world of your own delusions.
Corn Pop, Ian is not rubbing off. I am not a hippie. I was meditating before I met Ian.
We've got some super chats to get through here. Corey Anderson said, Tim Henson is an amazing guitarist and Tool is probably one of the most known bands for using imagery as part of their music. Facts?
Tim Henson is an amazing guitar player. He definitely is.
Trucker and Tourist in the Discord said, "Will my puppers be on the show today?" I think yours was on the show yesterday.
I wouldn't.
I believe, if I remember correctly, we showed yours yesterday. So
the Discord is always. They're all up in arms.
Yes.
They feel unheard.
They're saying, which animal did we shout out? You'll have to watch the show back later and watch the start of it, and you'll have to check there.
The Last of My Kind said, I work near the stadium that Taylor Swift just sold out 3 days in a row. Literally tens of thousands of Swifties shut down the roads. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo didn't even do that.
She's a force to be reckoned with. She is a tall, slender, extremely fit force to be reckoned with that gets gigantic cuts on her palms and says, "Oh, Shawn Mendes, you're a whiny bitch. I'm going to perform anyways."
She got cuts on her palm.
She had this big gash in her palm and she kept performing. And I'm just picturing Shawn Mendes gets a big gash in his palm and he cries and he goes home to his mommy because he keeps complaining.
They wrap it up?
Yeah, they wrap it up and he goes, "I can't do the show anymore."
I mean, did they wrap up Taylor's?
In the pictures I saw, no, it was just bleeding.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Gabby Hayes said, a break from the drag insanity. Phil, who is your favorite fictional character? Brett, Mary, and why?
That is a very good question.
There's so many fictional characters out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana Jones is a badass. I like Master Chief.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Just to stick with the theme, I'm going to say Michael Weston from Burn Notice because my favorite part is watching him look constantly put upon. He literally has in the show. His job is basically he's been disavowed from the government, and his job is to help people who can't help themselves. Yet he constantly looks put upon for having to help them. So he's always like, they're always like, "Will you help us?" He's like, "Oh God, no!" And then he eventually helps them, and just looks constantly like. It's my favorite part.
Mandy from Grim Adventures was a big part of my childhood.
And right now, everyone in the chat's like, "She didn't say Twilight." Yeah.
No character from Twilight is an actual person.
There you go.
Like, you can't relate to them. That's the whole point. Big Derp Energy said, we have a thriving society because of all the guys who are massively attuned to every minor detail. Obsessive personalities keep the lights on.
I love minutia.
That's very true.
One of my favorite things about movies and television have little to do with the overarching story, because that's not the stuff. I mean, that stuff's great, but that's not the stuff that ends up getting me to come back to stuff. It's the little details. It's watching something and noticing smaller things, or hearing stories behind the scenes about how things worked, like why they cut something a certain way or why something was made this certain way. I love watching back old episodes of shows that were broadcast in different regions, and dialogue is edited differently, and different music is added depending on where it's played. Like, that's the stuff that interests me. So little details are important. I think that stuff matters.
Unfortunately, that's not keeping anyone's lights on.
No, it's not.
But yeah, people massively underestimate the like what it takes to keep society running, and like the fact that basically competent white dudes have been doing it like keeping society going.
Thank you, electrical grid.
For a long time. Hope it keeps going. Garrett Lancaster said, if you liked the Dresden Files, check out Codex Alera, also by Jim Butcher. It's the Lost Roman Legion meets Pokemon.
Interesting. Well, I do love the Dresden Files. I haven't read, I don't know if, does Jim Butcher, like the only stuff I've read from Jim Butcher are the Dresden Files books, so I wouldn't know if of his other work, but I will definitely check that out. I wonder if there's audiobooks of it, because I listen to more audiobooks than I do actually sit there and read.
James Orenthal once said, it's objective fact that Asians are the atomic bomb.
Well, thank you, James.
Well, you're allowed to say that.
Yes, he is. He's got the pass.
Usually Matt said, so who's to blame? A&E, Bravo, Hist, Logo, TLC, VH1.
For all of the bad reality shows and the body dysmorphia and the MILF manners and all
TLC has really been just hit after hit lately of degeneracy, so
let's hold off on the rest and we will come back. Actually, you know what? Read Noah's. Read Noah Sanders.
Noah Sanders, Doc Q said, have you guys heard of Nuka Zeus? He's just as ludicrous as Rachel Dolezal. He became black with tanning injections. What? What is that? And has black power tattooed on his forearms. What a weird guy.
I mean, is this just a sign that we're like there's just people that are mentally ill and this is just their unique flavor?
What is a tanning injection?
That's just their unique flavor of mental illness.
What is a tanning injection? That's scary.
That scares Mary more than anything is a tanning
What does that
injection.
even mean?
Mary does not want anything
You
to do with tanning
inject
injections.
melanin into somebody?
Is that what it is?
I don't understand.
Phil, any idea?
No.
No? All
That's
right.
crazy.
All right, let's move on. We got one more thing to talk about here, guys, and it's the geriatric assholes that are running Hollywood these days. I'm half kidding here, but I was reading this article. It's about basically they did a survey and they were talking about the most bankable action, like movie stars in Hollywood these days. And it seems like most of these are action stars.
Top 20 U.S. actors that respondents named that they'd be most interested in seeing a film in theaters. They were all over the age of 40, except for Chris Hemsworth. He turns 40 later this year.
39, and he's got a movie coming out he's got Extraction 2 coming out next month. So yeah, and what I thought was funny about this was that when I think about it, it kind of makes more sense than you realize if you actually put some thought into it. Older actors, older people going to watch the movies, that makes sense to me. Whereas you're not seeing as many influencers of an extended age, right? So the younger generation is dominating newer platforms and newer mediums, and the mediums that are being watched by older people at the theaters are being dominated by people closer to their age ranges.
I suppose that's true. I guess it's kind of sad that young people don't want to watch films in theaters anymore, and that's like the thing that only older people are doing now. Like I think about like the history of it, it's like I'm sure young people like to see moving pictures.
Well, I mean, also it's a completely different, like there was an article recently, I don't think it was Scorsese, but somebody was talking about how it pains them when they see that kids talk about the primary way they watch movies is on their phone. He's like, it's not.
I have done that.
Like, if you've ever been into like a Hollywood studio editing bay, they've got it on a full-size movie screen when they're editing these things, and it has to, in a certain way, break their heart to put in all this work to see you like.
Or I mean, not on Quibi.
Yeah,
but
like, and you're sitting there like
I
this.
watched Leon the Professional on my phone. I watched 13 going on 30 on my
your phone.
Like I watched these movies on my phone. I don't know why, but I did it.
This is something that musicians have kind of been aware of for a long time, is the way that people listen to music. You're not getting high quality music.
No.
Like we'll record in HD with, super high end gear, super high end microphones, really paying a close attention to detail, make sure there's no noise, et cetera, et cetera. And then people listen to MP3s in their car with the window half down, smoking a cigarette, talking to their friends.
Yeah.
That's how they listen to music.
And it's got to frustrate you.
Yeah, or they listen to them on iPods, which sound like absolute garbage. Yep. And it doesn't frustrate me. It's just that it's one of those things where it's like, you have to have it up to a certain standard for it to be professional. but you can actually get away with way lower because nobody ever listens to it in a context where that standard matters.
Well, now they just speed up and slow down songs and call it a new song.
You also know what to pay attention for when you're listening to the quality of a song, and most people don't. But anyway, I think one factor in this trend where movie stars are getting older and young people kind of are, like younger actors or actresses aren't really being welcomed into the fold of that like A-list class is possibly that young people look younger today than they used to.
Yeah.
And are less believable in adult roles.
Tom Cruise looked young. When Tom Cruise was young, he looked young.
Tom Cruise.
Look up some pictures. I want proof of this.
He looks.
I don't believe Tom Cruise
like
ever
he looks like. But have you ever seen him before he got his teeth fixed?
Look up photos. Okay. I want proof.
Okay.
He now he looks like he's starting to get a little old or get some age on him, but he's 60. He's looked the same for 30 years.
Yeah. That's the
He looked like he was a teenager from when he was a teenager until he was 30.
An actor.
And then from 30 until now, for 30 years, he's looked almost exactly the same.
He's going to be frozen in time like a couple times.
He's done it. He's got a. I mean, the picture that you on the insider link that you sent, I couldn't help but notice with the aviators and with that smile. I'm like, oh, that's kind of Joe Biden.
Is this from original Top Gun days or?
No, that's new. That's new. That's new. He's much.
This is new.
No, this photo on screen there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I
don't have a.
Yeah, I don't know if this is risky business age or what time period this was, but
risky business
when he looks young, he looks young, right? Like he's very young there. This says teen star, so I don't know if he was still a teenager at that point. This is the famous photo that everybody points to when they talk about young Tom Cruise.
Okay. Funny.
He's he's looked young for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. But I think part of it's also like gravitas becomes a thing when you're carrying a movie that costs that much money to make. You need to have a certain level of professional. You have to have a resume that says you can carry a movie of that size, right? And you're just not going to get that with younger actors who are starting out now on streaming. They're not making as many movies with younger actors. Those guys are going straight to streaming services to make their stuff.
I get what you mean by gravitas, but some of the older actors, I don't even think they got it. Like Brad Pitt, never believed it.
You weren't around
Will
during
Smith,
Fight
never
Club.
believed it.
You weren't around during Independence
But
Day.
that's the thing. Like these are movies from when they were in their 30s. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. But that's
the thing. Them being old has nothing to do with their gravitas. We're just not welcoming.
No, it does have something to do with
stars into the fold. They build that upper echelon.
When somebody watches a Brad Pitt movie now, when I watch Bullet Train, I don't just think of Brad Pitt in Bullet Train. I think of Brad Pitt in Fight Club. I think of Brad Pitt in other movies. I think of Tom Cruise, not just in this, but I think of Tom Cruise in Collateral in 2004 and Mission Impossible in 1996. It goes to building up an image over a period of time. When you think of these actors, they become more than just the roles they play, especially if they don't pigeonhole themselves into a certain genre.
Who is building up a portfolio like that right now?
Right now,
I don't know. Are they
Michael B. for them
like,
to do that though? Because think about it. Like, there's not a lot of movies that are new stories.
Yeah, they're going to Marvel. They're
either new stories with new people.
Michael B. Jordan is building up.
We got a super chat from Noah Sanders that says, if you guys want to look into Nuka Zeus, I suggest the videos by Pay Money Wubby, top tier content. Phil has All That Remains thought about recording with older equipment like Daft Punk did in their last album and pressing it to vinyl.
I don't think that's something that All That Remains is interested in doing, because we do not have. Yeah. No one in the band wants nostalgia. Like, we don't do nostalgia. We've never really been that kind of thing. So for us, we're not like, oh, we want to have an older sounding. We've always been a forward looking band that was looking to sound like a modern band. And I don't imagine us being like, oh, let's just go ahead and, do it on the old tape and blah, 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 especially with the people in the band. Like, Richardson's not going to do that. Richardson's going to put it on the grid. He wants everything to go through computers. No way. Yep. No.
Like, disappointing answer for him.
Sorry. Listen, Jason Richardson is like no, that's not how we make modern metal today. Sorry.
So the old actors look younger than they are because of adrenochrome
and plastic surgery,
spirit cooking, and plastic surgery, and the young actors kind of look younger than they're
because they haven't struggled yet.
They haven't gone to war.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of hormones in the water and in the milk. They probably were more likely formula fed than breastfed. It's like that. What was that? Like Ramblings of a Crouton or like Musings of a Crouton?
It's my favorite. It's my favorite account on Instagram.
You look like you were breastfed for at least 6 years.
Musings of a
We don't
crouton.
have that kind of stock in our nation anymore.
Yes.
So that's maybe why younger actors in their 30s or maybe late 20s aren't getting welcomed into those types of roles where they can build up the same portfolio and build up the image and the gravitas that all of these older actors have.
Everyone go listen to Musings of a Crouton. She is a comedic anarchist. She is amazing.
I just followed her.
She is amazing. She takes shots at literally everyone. Her imitations of alpha female podcasts are hilarious. It's great stuff. I think for a lot of the younger actors, it's also harder because back then there was less to choose from. So if you got one of those roles in a big budget movie, more eyes were on you naturally. Now there's 9,000 things to choose from. Like I said, the closest thing I can think of to somebody who's legitimately building up a profile, and maybe I'm missing a bunch of them, maybe I'm just not thinking about it. Michael B. Jordan has built up a resume of movies that are more than just his role as Killmonger in Marvel, right? Yeah. He's done a lot of other stuff, and I think he is somebody, when I think of him, I think of gravitas, and I think of class on screen in a lot of ways. So I think somebody like him, I think Jonathan Majors could have done that if he didn't, not likely going to happen.
I asked whether Glen Powell was getting positioned as the next Tom Cruise because of being in Top Gun Maverick.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if he would be who I would choose. I can't think of who I would choose otherwise, though. They are all older. Like when I'm thinking of all these movies that we've went and saw, and it was almost all older actors, right? Yeah. Like I can't think of, I mean, maybe you could have said that about Adam Driver at one point. He might be more the art nerds, big budget.
Still, what is he doing? I don't know.
Also, I realized not only is he a vet, but when we talked about Jake McLaughlin on the on Culture War the other day, I didn't realize he was a vet and is served for quite a period of time in Iraq. Yeah, so he was like, so when they talk about him being a conservative and like believable in the role of like a military person, he actually was, which is maybe why he got casted so frequently in military and law enforcement roles early on. But he's an actor, unfortunately he does mostly TV, but when I think of somebody that's believable in the roles he does, I love his work. But those types of actors just aren't going to get the play because they're not seen as movie stars, because there is still, whether people like it or not, there is still a bit of a divide between what we consider now a streaming star, used to be a television star, and what you think of as inherently a movie star.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I do think, Mary, that if you had been, if you'd been alive when most of these actors were, or at least older, when most of these actors were making their big budget movies, it might be easier to see them as like the sum of all their work, rather than just the outcome of their work.
I guess.
Like Will Smith, I get because he's cucked himself so hard.
Good movies are not getting made anymore, so we don't have good actors.
Good movies are not getting made because we don't have good people, or we don't have good stories being written.
No, we have them. They're just not being. The money's not being spent on them. Hollywood has endless amounts of scripts that have been written. They're just
They'd
not.
rather make a TV show
bad
about
script
reality
then.
winner.
Yes. Yeah, about reality winner, so we can hear her being like, "Oh my God, I speak like 3 languages." It's gonna be great.
Is that what it's gonna be like?
I'm trying to picture Sydney Sweeney as any type of like NSA translator, and it's not hitting. It's not hitting to me, but that's just. Yep. All right. See that's what we need. We need the Andrew Tate movie, starring Christian Bale.
Starring Andrew Tate.
Christian Bale. We'll get Christian Bale to play Andrew Tate, and then
you have to shave his head.
Yes, he's got to shave his head to do that. So, all right, we got some super chats there.
T-Bone said, just wanted to shout out Cat's Meow and Trucker and Tourist in Discord and wish them a happy birthday.
That was why I checked the...
Happy birthday, guys.
And Trucker and Tourist, you'll have to check yesterday. I really do think yesterday we included your the pups.
Okay. Nathan Koss said an 18-year-old died from a vaginoplasty recently.
I saw that.
Oh, that's awful. Yikes. Didn't hear about that. Corey Anderson said, Phil, the song Twist by Korn, gimmick or genius?
I don't think that it's either. I don't think that it's genius, but it's not just gimmick. I think it's a good tune.
Usually Matt said gym subsidies before free healthcare or college. Well, then gyms are just going to be horrible because you're going to let a bunch of homeless people in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're really going to have something to worry about who's lurking in those bathrooms.
I mean, there's already enough to be worried about there anyways.
Yeah. Big Derp Energy said, women like to say, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I reply with, I'm not honest, but you are really interesting. Daniel Tosh. No Tax, Good Tax said, I use... Thank you.
God bless America.
He said, I use my tablet to watch the game while watching whatever my wife wants to watch. A phone just isn't worth using for TV. Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to find that.
What are you trying to find?
There was an actress who I thought could play Reality Winner, and I'm not going to be able to find the thing that it was. I can't remember off the top of my head what I saw her in, but now if I wanted to find it, it would just take time. Maybe I'll look it up for tomorrow.
This is like your OCD
Yes.
compulsion.
Yeah, I need to. Oh, I might have found it. Did I find it? I think I did.
Just don't hurt yourself if you can't.
Her name is Amy Sloan. She doesn't look as much like her. She did. Maybe it's because the thing I was thinking of was from like 2004, so she doesn't look as much like her now.
Everyone gets played by someone way hotter than them.
That's the rule, right? I mean, you should want that, right? Like I was watching when I watched Argo, and I realized that, like, you know, believe it or not, Ben Affleck's name doesn't look like a guy who could play somebody named Tony Mendez. Being that his name is Ben Affleck, and he did, and the guy's just like, of course it was fine, because the actual Tony Mendez, because it's based on a true story, said that like it didn't bother him because he didn't grow up, like his dad wasn't around, so he was mixed race, and he just wasn't connected to that part of his life. And you know, they threw the beard on Ben Affleck. So when they say they don't race swap the other way, it does happen. But Ben Affleck produced that movie, so he's like, I get to play Tony Mendez because I'm making this movie, right? And then you look at him, and they talk about how Tony Mendez, working for the CIA, was able to move in and out of different countries unnoticed because he was just so ordinary looking. Like he was an average height, normal looking dude. But Ben Affleck's like 6'4" and super handsome. He's not gonna move freely amongst these places because he's gonna be very noticeable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I was shocked how tall Mark Pellegrino was. He was so much taller than he was like 6'4".
Not normal for actors.
See, and that's what he said. He said that too, but I thought actors were supposed to be tall.
No. They have to be closer to equal height with the women, who are also like a little bit taller than average.
So they want to be like 5'9".
They're in the camera shot together. Yeah.
Unless they're gonna be Tom Cruise, and then they gotta put him on the Apple box.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Cruise, what, 5'7"?
He's
5'6".
still taller than the average
5'6"?
woman.
Yeah.
Still
He's
taller.
5'6"?
5'6".
That's the same height as me.
Or no, he might be 5'7". I might be off by. He might be 5'7".
I thought it was 5'9". Anyways,
there's a great montage that they do in one of the Honest trailers. They're like, when they do the Honest trailer for the first Top Gun, they say also featuring angles, and then they're like and they show all the angles they have to shoot all the other actors with that. They're like,
how tall is Jennifer Connelly?
They're like Val Kilmer sitting on a box, Val Kilmer kneeling next to a plane, and they show all the ways Val Kilmer had to contort himself to be around the same height as Tom Cruise in that movie.
Jennifer Connelly is the same height as Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So maybe they put a couple of lifts in his shoes there.
Mm-hmm. Baron of Grey Matter said, All That Remains live 2007. This calling on my audio file, gear cranked to 11, puts you right there.
Cheers.
Corey Anderson said, Phil, if you could use voodoo to put the soul of John Bonham into Jason Costa, would you?
No, I already said that we don't want to do things like that. I would take the soul out because I want it to be robotic. No soul, only numbers, zeros and ones, zeros and ones.
Carnell said, curious to know what everyone's favorite Tom Cruise film is. I'm always tied between Minority Report and The Last Samurai.
Collateral, by far.
I liked the first Top Gun.
Did you? Because you saw it like right before.
No, I didn't. I
You'd already
watched
seen
it
it? Yeah.
like years ago.
I'd say the first. I think that I would agree with Minority Report. I really like that movie a lot, and I think that it speaks to our time right now, like a lot. I mean, we don't have like psychics, but we have algorithms that are attempting to do what the psychics were doing. So,
It's
there
like
are
that
definitely
meme
people
where like the guy like turns his calendar and it's 1984. That's literally you right now, Phil.
That's what it seems like.
Here is the real reality winner,
Yes.
and this is who I would have had play her.
Okay, I see the
Okay,
resemblance.
See, I should have been a casting director. Would have been my.
Go do it now.
Would have been a fantastic job.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
no,
not
'cause
one of those things where it's like, oh, I missed my chance because I'm.
I mean, it is because
something.
they'd be like, I'd be like, they'd be like, they have to be gay and this,
Ah,
and
there you
I'd be
go.
like, well, I just wanted to hire.
You
her
have
'cause
to
they
race swap
Yeah,
reality winner.
They'd be like, she's a redhead. We can't have her. We can't have
She's
a redhead.
blonde, or is she a
No,
strawberry
she's
blonde?
she's a strawberry blonde.
Okay.
But basically a redhead, and they're like, sorry, she's got to be
Same
black.
thing.
Yeah.
Strawberry blonde and redheads are the same thing. It's just the amount of sun
Hidden
that they've been in.
figures, y'all. Proving the Russian interference. We're all caught up on Superchats.
All right, guys. Phil, my friend, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on the internet. I am Phil That Remains on Twitter, Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, that whole stuff.
Perfect. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. Thanks for bearing with me.
Perfect. We're all gonna. I'll drink some tea or something tonight and hopefully be less coffee. I've actually not been too bad today. A little bit, but not as bad as I thought it would be. Guys, before we go, would you like this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Thank you very much. Turn the notification bell on so that you can be notified every time one of these episodes goes live or a segment goes up. Again, we did pass 58,000 subscribers recently, so thank you very much for that. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. And if you'd like to listen to us, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we're on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.